Hey guys, I want to welcome you tonight to our Grow Stack Drive virtual summit. We've got a phenomenal lineup scheduled for you tonight as we're going to be talking about what do I do with my business and my life post-COVID. We've got a phenomenal lineup tonight. Coach Michael Burt is with us now, as well as Josh York from Gym Guys, Garen Jones, Wes Gay, Greg Reed, myself, Tori Cruz, who is Miss Missouri, competed in the Miss USA pageant. It's got a phenomenal coaching group for ladies, and the one and only Antonio White. Before we get started, I also want to say a quick shout out to our sponsors of Grow Stack Drive. They do our weekday live as well as all of our graphics and website for our virtual summit. And that's my good friend, Zach Tatum at Market House Media and Site Now. That's sitenowlive.com. As a matter of fact, I'll have Zach on here in just a little bit. But without further ado, what we're going to do tonight, kind of the format is every speaker is going to have about 10 minutes. Then we're going to take about 5 minutes of Q&A. So whatever questions you guys have, I'd love for you guys, as Coach Burt gets started here in just a minute, I'd love for you guys to kind of put your questions over there, and then we'll do about a 5-minute follow-up Q&A with each of our communicators. So without further ado, I want you guys to welcome my friend, Coach Michael Burt, the Monster Coach. Coach, good to have you tonight, my friend.
There we go. There we go, where you can hear me, right? I need to get my DJ voice going like you, Ken. You got a good DJ voice, man. I think I
have a face for radio, my friend. So that's why I have a good DJ voice.
Amen. That's the truth. I'm right there with you. All right. How many of you guys ever heard of me before, Coach Michael Burt? Raise your hand if you heard me on anything. Any of you guys see me speak at 10X in Las Vegas and Mandalay Bay a few years ago? Anybody see that? All right. So a lot of people may have saw me at 10X over the last 12 years. I've been coaching people from all over the world. What many people don't know was that I was a high school women's basketball coach for a decade. And I was a deep, deep disciple of a guy named Dr. Stephen Covey. And Covey wrote the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. From 18 to 25, he was my guy. He was my guy. And what he taught me from 18 to 25 was a theory called the whole person theory that says that people are made up of 4 parts: a body, a mind, a heart, and a spirit. Each of those parts produce 4 different needs, 4 different intelligences, 4 different capacities, 4 different dimensions. So from 18 to 25, when I'm coaching basketball, I make up my mind that I'm going to coach the whole person. I'm going to coach the whole kid. And when I start coaching the whole kid, we start winning basketball games. We start winning so many basketball games that people were constantly asking me what I was doing with the kids. And I said, I don't have time to explain it because I'm trying to win championships. And so I started writing the first of what you would see behind me of 16 books that I have out in the market about how to engineer people to win at the highest levels. Now, we're talking tonight about post-COVID, and I want to bring home some things that I learned from my mentor, Covey, because I'm 43 years old. There's things I do every single day that I learned from 18 to 25. Covey always taught that between stimulus and response is a space. And in that space lies our ability to choose our response. We cannot control sometimes the external factor. All we can control is the stimulus, right? And in that space lies our ability to choose. So during the COVID period, I run a coaching business. I speak about 150 times a year. We have a multi-million-dollar coaching business. I couldn't speak. My business was off about 100,000 in sales that month. I'm scared, just like you're scared, because a lot of my livelihood is built on me getting in front of people, being live. But I remember what Dr. Covey taught me. I can't control the response. I can only control the stimulus. Between what happens to me and my response to what happens to me is a space. And in that space lies the greatest human freedom, my freedom and power to choose how I respond. So I make up my mind. I'm going to have 3 mindsets during that period. Number 1, I'm going to go to bed tired, and I'm going to wake up hungry. Every night I go to bed, I'm going to put everything I can in, man. I'm going to push. I'm going to touch the line every day. I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to touch the line every day. I'm going to go to bed tired, and I'm going to wake up hungry. This is a good principle you should live by in any economic period. Okay. Number 2 principle I live by is it all goes to 0 at midnight. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much you made, success don't care what you did yesterday. It only cares what you did today, right? So tell yourself it all goes to zero at midnight. This is a great principle to live by, guys, no matter how much money you have in the bank. Okay. Tell yourself go broke every night at midnight. Okay. And my favorite principle was there comes a time when winter asks what you did all spring and summer. If your business really struggled during the COVID period, it's an indicator that your business didn't have a healthy immune system. You didn't have enough cash on hand. You didn't have enough revenue sources. You don't have enough diversification of your business model. Like it's okay, right? But that's what the market was telling you. So during COVID, I opened up a publishing division. And you know why? Because I've written 16 books. 200 million Americans say they want to write a book. That's 81% of Americans. We began selling publishing deals like crazy, meaning we had one guy writing the books for people. We were selling it at 5,000 and 15,000. We could make it a bestseller on Amazon for 15,000. And we began generating revenue by pivoting. I also opened up and pushed my Monster Health division because people started to think about their health when they were staying at home, eating them bonbons. They wanted to get healthy. So guess what? My Monster Health division showed an increase. My Monster Publishing division showed an increase. I went to every company that I was working with and I said, I'll do during this period to help you. I'll do free webinars and coaching sessions for your people. I won't charge you anything to help you make it through those periods. I went to every prospect I had and said, I know I hadn't been able to move you off the fence during this period. I'll help keep your people motivated if you'll just put me in front of your people during this period. As a result of that, today we signed a $152,000 contract, coaching contract. We got another $30,000 contract coming in the next 2 days, all because during the COVID period, I played offense versus defense. Everybody see that? Now, where did I learn that? I learned it from Covey, man, between what happens to me and my response to me, right? And John Wooden used to say, we don't whine, we don't complain, and we don't make excuses. My single mom who had me when she was 16 taught me we dress up, we show up, we grow up, and we deliver. But what we don't do is we don't whine in life, guys, ever. We make things happen. So I don't know about you, but during this period of COVID, my prey drive was activated at a much higher level. I need a good challenge, right, C-Rock? I need a good challenge. I need a fight. I need a game to play. I need a competition to win. And let me tell you something, knock about 100,000 off your revenue in a month, you got a new game to play. It starts working muscles that you haven't worked in a long time, which is the best thing in the world. Okay. Last year, I went through a rough time in some cycles, maybe 2 years ago, and I had some bad business partnerships. Probably cost me, I'm going to say 300,000 to 500,000 of real cash that I lost. And during that period, I had never experienced conflict like that in my life. I had never had people, what I felt like kind of prey on me. I had never had people take advantage of me. I never had people and it was nasty, man. And I really struggled. So I went to the Bible and I said, what does the Bible teach us about handling conflict? Well, surprisingly enough, the Bible doesn't teach a whole lot about conflict. It teaches you don't be anxious for anything. Don't be worried for anything. There's a verse in there that says, Jesus says to the people, it's not my problem for you to solve between you and your brothers. Like there's not a lot of stuff about conflict. So I started studying conflict at a very high level. And I came to a conclusion. Conflict is necessary for expansion. How many times in your life have you grown when you've had either internal conflict or external conflict? Right? That was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm such a better businessman because I went through that conflict. And I learned that how you handle conflict either opens the door to future possibility or it closes the door to future possibility. When you are in conflict with other people, like this today, I was teaching my team the 5 dysfunctions of teams. The second dysfunction of teams is fear of conflict. And I was teaching them that conflict is not a bad thing. It's just misguided enthusiasm. It's just misguided frustration. And how we handle that with each other. And I was teaching them an old trick I learned from Jimmy Evans, who's a great pastor in Amarillo, Texas. He said, when you handle conflict, when you're complaining to another person, it's about you. When you're being critical, it's about them. If I go home tonight and my wife does something and I go right at her and I say, you're just like your mama. You've been just like your mom ever since we got married. And you do this and you do that. That's being critical. What if I go home tonight and there's conflict and I say, sweetheart, you probably didn't mean to do that. But let me tell you how it kind of made me feel when I didn't feel like you appreciated how hard I worked today for our family. She may come back to me and say, Michael, I didn't mean that at all. That's not how I meant it at all, right? See, when I made a little complaint about myself, it was about me. When I'm critical, it was critical about her. So I was teaching my team today how to handle conflict. When we have conflict, well, during the COVID period, there's conflict, there's stress. And if you study, like I go to the #1 energy doctor in the world, and we had all kinds of conversations about during this period. The #1 killer of people in the United States is heart disease. Heart disease is created through what? Fear. Fear is an unpleasant emotion created by a belief that something's going to harm me in the future. Fear creates worry. Worry creates stress. Stress creates dis-ease. Dis-ease is the #1. There's 1,000 people that die every day because of stress in the United States per day. Well, what creates most stress for a lot of people is their business. And I actually believe your business should be a point of joy. Your business should be a distribution channel for your talent. You should distribute your talents through your work, and the world rewards you in the form of love and recognition and reputation and referrals. And oh yeah, by the way, money is a distribution back to you. So post-COVID, the best thing I can tell you guys tonight is King David had a mindset in the Bible. Every year King David went into battle, he was a great king. He listened to some people around him. Some of his soldiers told him one year, don't go into battle this year. Stay home. Stay home, man. He stayed home, right? He saw Bathsheba bathing on the roof. Then he got himself into trouble. The great king fell because he was distracted and he didn't go into battle. Here's what I would tell you guys. When he was going into battle every year, he was a great king. When he quit working the muscle, quit going into battle. So during the COVID period, I came into battle every day, more than I've ever been in my life. I worked harder. I worked longer. I made more calls. I talked to more customers. I worked the system harder than I've ever worked it. I perfected the system better. In many aspects, it will be one of the best things that ever happened to me in my business career. All because of the way you look at it. But you know what King David's mindset was? It's going to be a fight, guys, but we're going to find a way to win. And if you will go into every deal in life and every opportunity, understanding proper expectation, it ain't going to be easy, man. It's going to be a fight, but we're going to find a way to win. And when you think like that, nothing that comes at you is going to be bothersome to you. So I want to encourage you guys tonight. What I learned from 18 to 25, stimulus response, right? That's what I want you to remember. Between what happens to you and your response to what happens to you is a space. Okay, we create our future by our response to the adversities we face. Adversity can actually accelerate progress if you just see it the right way. Fair enough?
Love it, Coach Burt. Hey, real quick, if y'all have questions, if you'll type them in the chat. I've got a couple things just from my notes and just from being around you over the past few months. So we've got a lot of people that are going to be on the call tonight. They're going to see this, that are actually in some coaching networks. But what do you say, Coach? What do you say to the person tonight that didn't use the COVID time the way that maybe you did or I did or some other people, and they kind of find themselves behind, and now they're listening going, wow, I didn't prepare. One of the first things I ever heard you say that I absolutely love is one day winter is going to ask what you did all spring and summer. And that's a basketball reference from when you coach basketball. Hey, did I bust my tail in the spring and summer to prep for wintertime when they're handing out trophies? And you guys were all about trophies. So what about the person right now, Coach, that may have not taken advantage of COVID? Where would you suggest they start today?
Here's what I would tell you. We can't go back now and have a new past, but we can start now and have a new ending. And I think what's very important for people to understand is I'm a very pragmatic person. Winning and success is about probability. It's about taking action. The more action you take, the higher the probability is that you win. If you call on 30 people, the percentages tell me that roughly 4.8 of those people will be open and inviting. Well, what if you're only calling 4 people? 16% of 4 is a very small number, guys. And so what you got to understand is if you dropped the ball, if you whined and pouted and felt sorry for yourself and didn't do it, which is what a lot of Americans did, then that's okay. It's over, right? So it's like Phil Jackson teaching his team when they had a loss. Just, hey, take a shower, wash the loss down the drain, and let's go back to battle tomorrow. Like, let's not live there. Always make your future bigger than your past. So I work a system, guys. We come in every day. We prospect 2.5 hours in the morning, 2.5 in the afternoon. My salespeople make roughly 80 phone calls a day because it's a game of percentages to me. The more people we talk to, the more opportunities we have, the more success we're going to have, right? But here's the problem, Ken. Most people don't work the muscle like that. They don't understand the purpose of the business is to generate new business. So they spend a lot of time in what I would call low value activity, non-revenue producing activities. Okay. You're either fishing for bluegills or you're fishing for blue marlins. Bluegills is solving little bitty problems that pay you a little bitty money. Blue marlins is solving big, juicy problems for the world that people are willing to pay you a lot of money to solve. So
and they look good on the wall.
When I go fishing in the morning, I go fishing for blue marlins, man.
Come on. Nobody puts a bluegill or brim on the wall, do they, Coach?
No, they don't.
No, they put marlins on the wall. Coach, again, the couple things you talked about tonight that I absolutely love is one day winter's going to ask you what you did all spring and summer. And then the other thing is the only thing I can choose is how I respond. The only thing that I get to choose is how I respond. I'd love for you for just 60 seconds to encourage people, even starting right now, this very moment, to take control of how they respond.
I got a 7-year-old daughter who hasn't taken a DISC profile, but I guarantee she's a high D. And
can't imagine where she got that at.
I sat down with her and I said to her, we're gonna write down the word attitude. What's the definition of attitude? It is a posture of the body which represents a mental state. Bad attitudes make for hard lives, guys. And I told my daughter, write down 10 things of a good attitude. Smiling, energy, friendly. She put number 7, rolling eyes. I'm like, I think you missed the class on this one, sweetheart. Rolling eyes ain't a sign of a good attitude. It's a sign of a bad attitude. Well, here's what I would tell you. When you understand this one principle that Ken asked me to talk about, I am where I am today based on every decision I made up until today. Nobody has put me where I am today except me. Instead of asking why me, why is this happening to me, you need to be asking what is this trying to teach me? All confusion in life is created by the leader. When my company makes a mistake or my people, it ain't their fault, it's my fault. Because I did a poor job of coaching them, poor job of training them. And when you take that kind of responsibility in life, okay, Jocko Willink would call it what? Extreme ownership. It's my fault. What did I do to contribute to this mess that I'm in right now? How many of you have ever gotten yourself into a mess that you're 100% responsible for putting yourself into? By your own decisions or lack of decisions, right? So I have all these little principles that I teach myself, but one is not why me, what's this trying to teach me? What was my contribution to this adversity? Adversity is just a departure away from the ideal scene. That's all adversity is. You had an idea of what it's going to look like. You departed away from it. Now, what are you going to do now? Whine, pout, feel sorry for yourself? Or are you going to figure out how to fight through the adversity, to use the adversity? I love using adversity to accelerate progress. That's what a highly responsible, proactive person does.
I love it. I love it. Coach Burt, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to getting up to Tennessee in the next few weeks and hanging out and spend some time. Have you met Josh York yet? Josh, are you in the room? Where you at, buddy?
I'm right here, my friend. I'm here.
Josh, Coach Burt. So, Coach Burt, I'm going to tell you. So, Josh is the only guy that's ever been on my live and videoed me and talked trash about how much energy he was going to bring and if I was going to bring the same amount of energy. This cat shot me a video this morning. He said, dude, I hope you got your seatbelt on because I'm about to bring it tonight. So I wanted the two of you guys to connect and just meet each other so you knew each other. Coach Burt, thank you a ton, my friend, for being on tonight. Man, honored that you spent some time. Tell your incredible wife that we said thank you for your time tonight. Go love on that 2-week-old baby boy, two-week-old baby boy.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, my friend.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, guys, I want to introduce to you a new friend of mine, Josh York, who runs Gym Guys, one of the fastest growing gym franchises in the world. I literally, there's not many guys that come on that talk a lot of trash before they even know me. So as soon as Josh did, I was like, this is my guy right here. I absolutely was stoked when I had him probably about a month or so ago on the Instagram Live. Super excited about him being here tonight. Josh, you've got 10 minutes. One thing I would love for you to do I would love for you sometime in the next 10 or in the 5 in the Q&A, I'd love for you to share your story about the Subway CEO.
Sure. I could definitely share that. Well,
Roll,
thank you for
man.
All right, thank you for having me. So, listen, guys, the first thing I'm going to tell you is this, okay? I'm going to give it to you 100, okay? And first, I'm going to tell you, it's not one of the fastest. I run the fastest in-home personal training franchise in the world. In the personal training space, we're number one. We've grown faster than any other fitness concept in history. In a matter of 5 years of franchising, we have 252 locations. We're in 3 countries, about to enter our 4th country, and we're in 32 states. And we've done that, what no one has done before. But one thing I'm going to tell you is I've done that bootstrapped. I have no partners. Okay. The worst kind of ship to be on is a partnership. Let me tell you about that. I will tell you that right now. So I only go on my ship, but, done that bootstrapped, started out my parents' dining room in 2008, started franchising in 2014. And one thing I will tell you right now, and I'm being very honest here, is that a lot of people are going to listen to what I say, but they're not going to actually do anything. This is the biggest problem. It's called TA. You must take action. That is the number one most important thing. Now, I do things that other people won't do, so I can have things other people won't have. And if you're not willing to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, you're never going to get comfortable. I will promise you that. Another thing is you got social media nowadays. That's great. Let me tell you something. Focus on yourself. Don't worry about everyone else's journey, because your journey is going to be different. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It matters about you getting there. So don't focus on anyone else. Focus on you. That is very, very important. And if you have a watch, I suggest you do something to your watch. Okay? Take a little Post-it and cut it out, and take a little piece of tape and put it right there. And I want you to write NOW. Now. The time is always now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. There's too many weak-minded people out there, okay? When you're weak-minded and you have a fixed mindset, not a growth mindset, people like me are going to eat you up. I don't drink coffee. This is how I roll every day. Now, I've been mentored by 7 billionaires, okay? And that's why I am where I am, because I like criticism. I crave it. I like getting help. That's how you get to the next level, because I have my thoughts on school, right? Here I am. I'm in school. I'm getting taught by some professor. The whole time I'm thinking how much money this guy has in his bank account, and I'm saying to myself, I'm sitting here trying to learn from someone. I don't even know if this guy's successful. So I went after people who've done it. And one in particular is the founder of Subway, which is the fastest, largest franchise in the world. Okay. They have over 60,000 locations in the world. Fred DeLuca, may he rest in peace, the sweetest guy ever. Now, I'm about to have dinner with Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. I could tell you some crazy stories. When I speak, whether it's in front of 10 people or 10,000 people, I always speak about, I make the impossible possible, right? Because the word impossible, it's really possible. That's the word. Okay. And at the end of the day, you have to always think like there's no box. People like to say, think outside the box. You think like there's no box. So I said one day, how am I going to meet Fred DeLuca, the founder of Subway? This guy's a billionaire. How am I going to get mentored from him? Well, most would say, oh, that's never going to happen. No. So I figured it all out. So I became like the most creative bank robber in my mind. Like, I play these psychological games with myself, and it's very important because you got to put yourself there. Like, I almost play it like it's a video game. And I was trying to think, how can I get creative to meet this guy? So let me tell you something. Everyone on here, I don't know what business you're in, if you're in business, getting in business, what you do, but everyone's in the same business. It's called the people business. If you don't know how to build relationships, and let me tell you something, I never learned that in school, because that's the first class they should teach you, is how to build relationships. Everything's about people, because guys, let me tell you, if everyone in here has a cold and you have to go to the doctor, but the doctor's completely booked, but I know the doctor, who's getting in to see the doctor that day? I am. That's how the world works. So anyway, here I am. I was like, okay, let me figure out the route that this guy's going to take to come into this convention center. So I got the night before and I started, just kind of casing and looking at the whole entire property. And they had all push doors. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you go out, you push the door, now the key, it's like a little special peg and you put it in the door. Okay. And when you put it in the door, it locks the door. So I said, okay, I need to become friends with the security guard, whoever has the key to this door. So now I'm trying to find the person who has the key to this door. Well, I become best friends with him in like 2 hours. Then I said to him, listen, I was like, I'm trying to do something tomorrow morning. I need your help. I got to lock all these doors, but I got to leave this one door open because I know what time he's speaking. And this way he's going to come in this door and I'm going to be sitting there. But I also did some research, and I know Fred DeLuca was a little bit like twisted, like me, because let me tell you something, normal doesn't work. You have two types of personalities, guys, A, B, right? No, you have a third one. It's type C. That's me, crazy. You always should be type C. So here I am. I locked every single door. There wasn't one door that was open except this one door. And who do you think was sitting there for 6 hours? Me. And there he is. He walks in. Right away, I said, hey, doing, Mr. DeLuca? My name is Josh York. I've been sitting here for 6 hours waiting for you. I actually had a whole plan of what I did. I told him everything. And I said, all I wanted to do was let you know how much effort I put into this, because it would be my honor to have you mentor me and help me. I'm just starting franchising. And he said, the first thing he said was, whoa, your energy is something else. He said, you're special. And now I'm like, I have butterflies in my stomach, right? Like, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's telling me I'm special. And he mentored me for about 1.5 years and has helped me with so many things and put me in so many great places because why? TA, I take action. Okay. I'll tell you a quick story before, I know I only have 10 minutes, but who here loves Nike? Raise a hand. You like Nike? Everyone here has Nike clothes? Okay. I love Nike. The greatest book ever is this book right here, Shoe Dog. Okay. Phil Knight's right there. That book signed. That's signed by Phil Knight. Phil Knight's actually a friend of mine now. Okay. Now, Phil Knight is an icon. He's worth $39 billion. Imagine just having $39 million in your bank account. This guy's got $39 billion. Now, if I said to you guys, you're going to meet Phil Knight, you're going to be like, no way, that's impossible. Well, I make the impossible possible. So what did I do? I went out and I got a box. Yes, a box that's so big that I'm bringing my man Mike with me. Catherine's coming with me. Ginger, you can come. And John, we're all going to jump in the box. That's how big the box was. And in the box, I put a tire. Yes, a tire. Okay, I love shipping people tires, a heartfelt letter, a 2030 canvas of Phil Knight, and a hardcover copy of Shoe Dog. And if you like business, I implore you to read the book Shoe Dog. Greatest business book of all time. Anyway, I ship people tires because I'm a crazy person. 18-wheeler truck tires. It costs $500 to ship the package, but the value is absolutely incredible. And the message I put on the tire is, my drive and intensity will leave tread marks all over your floor. We need to connect. Now, I take an ice bath every day at 31 degrees. Never missed it ever. I don't care if I have the flu. I don't care if I'm sick. I jump in that bath every day. And I came up with this sick idea in the bath. So this is what I do. Now, Nike stated if you were lucky, Mr. Knight would get back to you within 6 months to a year. But due to the amount of packages Mr. Knight gets, he's most likely not going to get back to you. So I ship it out. 7 days later, the box, that big box addressed to me with Nike's return address on it, comes back in my office. And with the anticipation of a 5-year-old child, I grabbed a scissor, run to the box, open up the box. What's in the box? A signed tire, a signed book that also said, just do it, and a signed canvas. Now, Nike made it clear, if you do not put a prepaid box in the box, they will not ship it back to you. I didn't want the tire back. The tire was to send a statement. Phil Knight shipped the tire back to me. Now, here's where everyone goes wrong. 75% of people quit before the miracle happens. You guys happy with silver? I don't want silver. I want gold. I want gold. So after 65 phone calls, I got in touch with Mr. Knight's handler, Lisa. Lisa McKinnon's been working for Mr. Knight for 36 years. She said in 36 years of working at Nike, no one has ever approached Mr. Knight this way that he termed remarkable and special. The last line I hit her with on this 45-minute phone call was, Lisa, do you have a Nike towel near you? And she said, excuse me? I said, do you have a towel near you? She said, I do actually. Well, can you please wipe my passion? Because it's dripping out of your phone. And I was supposed to have dinner with Mr. Knight in April, but due to the virus, it got changed, and I have to connect with her now at the end of next month. But I am having dinner with Mr. Knight. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story is I don't care what the hell anyone tells you. You could do anything you want. If you're going to be weak, you're never going to do anything. If you're going to be scared, you're never going to do anything. I fail all the time. Being successful comes with pain. If you can't tolerate pain, you're never going anywhere. So listen to what I'm telling you, because I have helped I've done some crazy things for some individuals who I coach and I've helped. Okay. And I've literally become a millionaire in 6 years. And I'm not big of money, but I'm just telling you, in 6 years, I've done that, starting with 15 grand, bootstrapped. I've had more negatives in my bank account than sunny days in the Caribbean. I could tell you stories that will make you vomit of what I've been through. I'll actually give you instant ulcers. But you know what? Only the strong survive. And at the end of the day, pain always equals growth. So if you remember these things and listen to anything I said, because you're never going to hear energy like me. You're never going to hear anyone give it to you real like this. But if you listen to me, you could change the world. You really can. But you have to love what you do. You need to follow your passion and figure out how you can make money at it. But you have to be obsessed.
Josh, tell me real quick. Tell me one mistake you've made in the last few months that you thought it was going to go well and you made a mistake and you look back and tell me the mistake and tell me what you learned from that mistake.
I brought on a C-level executive, okay, a new hire, okay, and she ended up suing me. But you know what? Listen, you know that anxiety feeling you guys get when like you hear bad news and you're like, oh, and you can't breathe? I have trained myself, just like I've trained myself, my physical appearance, my body for in working out. I've trained my mind. Business life is 80% mindset, 20% tactical.
So good.
But I brought on this person. She sued me for sexual harassment. She said I sexually harassed her. True story, right? I didn't do anything to her. She was pissed because she acted inappropriate at one of our conferences and ended up suing me for a lot of money. But you know what? Just like my man Michael Burt said before, you never react right away, right? It's all about how you react. I was actually smiling when I saw it. Because again, I go back to that video game. I play this game in my head. Like, I don't know if any of you like remember Mario Brothers. Right? I play like that game. And I think I was trying to save the princess. But, I got to that level and then I went over Count Dracula, whatever his name is, the dragon, and I fell in the lava and I lost. But you know what's great? I got to a certain point in the level that I didn't have to actually start from the beginning. You know what? For those of you who play games, you know what I'm talking about? But it's okay if you have to start from the beginning, but you always get another opportunity, just like in a video game. So what did I learn? I learned that whatever, things are going to happen, but you know what? You just keep moving forward. See, I have a problem with my neck. You see this? I can't turn around. I don't turn my neck around. I look forward only. If you're going to dwell on things, this is what I do. Everyone says, ready, aim, fire. I fire, aim, ready. That's what I always do. I always do that. I commit even when I don't know what the hell I'm doing because I figure it out. I closed one of the biggest deals, a 7-figure deal, by telling someone that I was going to be in their area in California on Tuesday. Called him up. He's like, that's great. Let's have a meeting. I wasn't even scheduled to go there. I booked a flight right away, went out there. This was on Monday night and literally just went to the airport and flew there and closed the biggest deal. You gotta make things happen.
Josh, my man.
Ken, I'm looking at your seatbelt. It's broken, man. Your seatbelt's broken.
Hey, I tell you, dude, listen, I told everybody last time, I think it was Anthony Trucks. I had Anthony on last month, and I said, listen, there's summer blockbusters, and then there's a movie when The Rock makes a movie. And, bro, you are The Rock summer blockbuster of all summer blockbusters. Dude, I love your passion. There are very few guys that I talk to that when I get around, I'm like, crap, I don't have enough passion. I don't have enough energy, and I'm not doing enough stuff. And Josh is one of those guys. Hey, listen, Josh York.
Yes.
GG Gym guys, JoshYorkGD.com. You guys can check him out. Follow him on Instagram. Guys, I'm telling you, you have seen and heard and felt the passion at another level tonight. Yep, Stacey shared it right there. Josh, thank you, my friend. I can't wait to get to New York City. I want to see the truck tire signed by Mr. Phil Knight himself, man.
You can definitely see that. And just Stacey knows it's Josh York GG. She put one G, so it's two G's. So just follow me on Instagram. That's my biggest platform. Also LinkedIn, but Josh York GG. And remember something: leaders always create other leaders, and you got to lead by example and just make things happen. And don't make any excuses. And don't be like everyone else and get off this call and go back to doing the normal thing. Last thing I'm going to leave with one thing. I have spoken at so many events. To this day, you know how many people have asked me to help them? To this day, I can't even count. Hundreds. You know how many people have actually reached out to me? 0. You see that? 0. Because no one takes action. Stop being scared and get the job done, and things will happen.
Come on, man. Josh, I appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Hey, guys. I told you guys, some of you guys were on the call earlier before we went live, and I told you guys it was going to be straight fire tonight. And it ain't going to stop here. Garen Jones, where you at, my friend?
I'm right here, brother.
Come on, bro. Listen, this is another brother from my brother from another mother. Garen and I got connected a couple months ago on Instagram Live as well. Garen, man, I'm honored that you're here. Love following you and your wife. Love seeing what you're doing. Love the passion, the energy, the story. Dude, I love how your house is decorated. Like, dude, every time you go into a new room, I'm like, dang, bro, I'm going to step up my game. I'm going to step up my house decorating game. Hey, Garen, thanks for being here tonight, man. Tell everybody a little about who you are, what you got going on, and do take some time to encourage our people.
Well, first and foremost, the guy Josh that just spoke, when he was talking about the watch that says now, I looked down on my wrist. I was like, same wavelength, brother, because I'm literally wearing a freaking now watch.
Come on, baby.
Amazon for $14. Anyways, Garen Jones, for those of you who I haven't had a pleasure to meet, 9 I was homeless, living in my car. I was $200,000 in debt. Ex-convict from, I served 2.5 years in prison from 2002 to 2005. And I was serving a 12-year sentence for smuggling drugs. I had all the energy, but I didn't know where to put it in my life. And I kind of did everything kind of backwards. I kind of just hit every hard angle that I could in my life since birth, dealing with so much, parents separating, father being murdered, parents, drug dealers, everything, and kind of rising from the ashes over and over and over. But you can't change what you're not aware of. So I had a lot of results in my life that I couldn't articulate how I did it until I got, master's in spiritual psychology and start doing all of this deep soul work to understand how to articulate, because it wasn't until I could articulate the transformation of my life that I could actually teach people. And you can't be a leader if nobody's learning from what you're sharing. So those 9 years ago when I was living in my car, it was the last straw of my life. I was in my car for 2.5 years. I was in debt. My daughter pretty much disowned me because I couldn't be the kind of man that I know I could be deep down inside. And I tried to take my life twice. I failed at that. And then at August 3:43 in the morning, I just yelled out and I cried and I said, okay, I'm tired of fighting. I don't want to fight anymore. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be surrounded by nothing but positive people. I just want to inspire people and I want to make a bunch of money, but I want the money to represent something that I passionately believe in that I would do for free. Just show me a sign. Week later, I'm at the gas station, my last $2, and a homeless guy asked me for money. And I said, you have more money than me. And he said, change your mindset, change your life. And in that moment, I've heard a lot of different things in my life where people giving me advice. But it was as if life was stripping everything away from me. Like I had nothing, like everything, my job, my daughter, my money, my this, my that, to the point where it stripped even my ego away so I could hear this homeless guy give me a message that said, change your mindset, change your life. That actually had me listen. Because when I listened, I kept replaying that phrase over in my head over and over again. Change your mindset, change your life. Change your mindset, change your life. So if my mind is set on something, then that's why the result is what it is. So if I do different with the same circumstance, then my life will change. And this was before I understood creating new neural pathways in your brain and I didn't understand all of these different things. So I got a lot of results just by doing the opposite of everything that I would normally do in areas of my life where I wasn't happy. It wasn't until I started finding a mentor and going to transformation courses that I could connect the dots looking backwards on my life and extracting all the lessons that I learned for the reason why I had had these results and was doing amazing things. And so to this day, 9 years later, you know, own several companies, 2 7 figures, 1 high 6 figures, retired my mom 3 years ago, and thriving through pandemic, because it's like pandemic happens, but when you're locked into your vision, you really don't see anything but what you're up to in the world. It's easy to get caught up in everything outside when you're not grounded and locked into a foundation. And so while growing through all of these different things in my life, especially being homeless and all these different things, blaming society, blaming the president, blaming my mom, blaming my dead father, the one person that I never blamed was myself. And I said, you know what? I can't do anything about anyone else, but I can do something about me. What can I do different about me? And so a week later, that's when the change your mindset, change your life philosophy came about. So I literally every single years, I don't want to do something. There's this tug of war of, I don't feel like doing it. And if I feel resistance, I always know on the other side of that resistance is the door to more. So write this down. On the other side of resistance is the door to more. So my first venture was in health and wellness. I'm from the South. I don't know anything about freaking healthy anything. My mom cooked fatty fried. We ate ice cream, bacon double cheeseburger, Salisbury steak, and I was also 40 pounds heavier. My mother was dying in the hospital with a colostomy bag, 195 pounds, 5'5", actually 250 pounds at 5'5". My brother was 325. So everybody in my family was obese. So I had no consciousness of health and wellness. So the second I got healthy, I started thinking different. For those that you don't know, you have brain cells in your gut. So that's why they say you are what you eat. So when you start eating healthy and cleansing your body from the inside out, you start thinking differently. So I built up a conglomerate inside of the health and wellness, being a wellness entrepreneur, building up leaders. And because I had access to more people than most people, I got a chance to master relationships. I was horrible at relationships, but when you fail so many times, you eventually start getting good at it. So I start getting good at being able to communicate with all different kind of personalities. Why? Because I needed to make money. I needed to get out of the car, but there was a relentless pursuit, fighting past every rejection, because what I realized was I was growing through my no's to earn my powerful yes. Write this down. I must grow through my no's in order to earn my powerful yes. So a bunch of people rejected me because I was the guy that would like steal your girlfriend or go into the purse room when I was a little kid and steal the purses and all these. You can understand why I was in prison or why I was in juvenile and all these different things. So while growing through this process of change your mindset, change your life, that's how I ended up following certain people and listening to reading books, not going out to parties, not chasing women every single night, but actually, what could I do with this time that I don't watch TV for 4 hours a day anymore or scroll for 4 hours a day anymore? That's when I started reading books. That's when I started going to free seminars that are talking about success and wealth. So as I started doing that, I was reminded of how I even got out of that. Because we're talking about this whole COVID thing. because I started hearing people say, oh, I'm on lockdown. Oh, my job is being taken away. Oh, this thing is happening. Oh, I can't see my boyfriend. Oh, and then when you dig deep enough, when I actually talked to the people, they were like, weren't you complaining about that job for the last 10 years? You didn't even want the freaking job in the first place. You've been complaining about your so-called boyfriend that you can't see. Oh, I think he cheated on me. Da, 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 da. Maybe things weren't being stripped away. Maybe the universe was moving all of the ish in your life that you didn't want anyway, so that you could be reminded of who you are while you were forced to be stuck with yourself. Most people don't know how to be with themselves, so they stay distracted with so many different things and they overcompensate in all these different areas. But that's why it was so hard during COVID. It's like, oh, I don't know, I'm dying in COVID. And I was wondering why I was so peaceful and I was so calm during COVID and everything was thriving in my life. And I was like, wait a second. The way I feel inside here is exactly what happened to me when I was living in my car and I felt like everything was being taken away from me, when I spent 2.5 years in prison where I felt like everything was taken away from me and losing myself. Because you don't know, take away my millions, take away my car, take away every outside possession, you are going to get a powerful king. And I know this. I don't need approval from no one because I've had to find that myself. So when COVID came, it activated my spidey senses of things previous in my life where when I was in prison, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? When I was in prison, I wrote freaking 25 songs and I memorized all my dreams. I stopped using my right hand and I used my left hand, which is my non-dominant hand, which operated a different part of my brain. I magically started being creative. Then I started singing. Then I started running. Then I started, despite what was going on the outside, in losing my freedom, I discovered my freedom and I realized exactly why I had manifested myself inside of prison, because when I was free, I'd be self-talk in my head. I would literally say, oh, I feel like I'm so far away from where I'm supposed to be. I feel like I'm imprisoned inside of my own body. And then flash forward, I'm so far away from where I'm supposed to be in France for smuggling drugs, so far away in prison. Now get this. While I was in prison, I started remembering I loved visual art. I started remembering I love to sing. I started remembering I love to work out with people and I love to see people having fun from stuff that I passionately love. Now get this. I wasn't supposed to get out. And so that entire time when I discovered my freedom, you heard the guy before, he was like, follow your passion. I couldn't make money inside of there, so I didn't have money to distract me. All I had was me and what was already inside of me. The bird is not the alligator. If the bird were to try to be an alligator, you can see how life would be difficult. But when the bird is using everything that's already inside of it, your dreams that's already inside of you, your goals that are already inside of you, not what your mom wants for you, not what your dad wants from you, not what the president, what society, whatever. Your passion is already living inside of you, but it's up to you that has to activate it. So while I was in prison, here's how value and here's how passion works. You're not going to see it show up instantly outside. You've got to fill up your own cup first. So if I was to have a cup right now and I was pouring and pouring and pouring, eventually it's going to reach a tipping point. And then when it reaches the tipping point, then it'll eventually spill over, and then it'll spill over into the next container. But if you keep pouring, it's going to spill over because it's too big for the space into the next container. So magically, my characteristic was that of a person who loved what he did, who was passionate, who shared his gifts with people regardless of the circumstance, and brought joy to other inmates. And magically, out of nowhere, when I assumed the characteristics of a free person, Jones, we tested your drugs again. You're free to go. They had already tested the drugs 3 times. So why would they test it again? Logically, that doesn't make sense. But to me, I feel like the universe becomes plastic according to the thoughts that you give the most power to. And so because I saw myself as a free person, as somebody who was happy, as somebody who was living their passion, I was filling up my own cup, which spilled over into the prison, the next container. But I kept pouring inside of me and giving to other and building other people up, which gave them permission to be themselves. And all of a sudden, that energy was too big for the space, which produced a free Garen. So I share with you that because that is the exact flow that I had when I was living in my car, the exact flow that I had when I was in prison, but I wasn't aware. You can't change what you're not aware of. So what did I do? Now that I'm aware and I have a high level of communication and a very level of emotional intelligence, I can go back, connect the dots, and extract all the lessons. Because if you don't learn the lessons from the past, you'll recreate them, and your new future will be it'll be a recreation of your past, unless you're living from possibility. So when COVID came up, and this is what's going to lead to my 5 points, I extracted all of the freaking juiciness. I got rid of the fat, and I extracted all of the things that lied inside of every single time I felt stuck, that got me out, that expanded my life, that expanded my income, that expanded so many other things. COVID, if it hadn't been for COVID, I wouldn't have been able to point that out. So what happened in COVID, I kept hearing, oh, I feel like my life, it's been taken, everything is being taken away. I was like, man, why don't I? Oh, well, why is that? Why is that? Why is that? So I created the strategy through the storm. And the storm doesn't necessarily have to be prison. It could be your relationship that you've been stuck in for 5 years, 10 years, and you know that you don't want to be in it. Your job that you've been into, it could have been COVID. Because here's the thing. I heard somebody say, I think Grant Cardone, he was like, your energy is worth more than your money. So when I realized that, and I was inside of COVID, I came up with 5 key tips that no matter where you are in life, you will always have the strategy through the storm. And I agree with the guy that came before me. He was like, listen, you must go through the resistance. Listen, babies are born through blood and chaos, which makes you think your next level is going to be all rainbows and unicorns. But like, can you imagine even the conception of the freaking unicorn horn having to break the skin and come out? Think about it. Babies are born through blood and chaos. They're screaming. The mother's, whatever. So your next level doesn't just happen. But just know that you will be rewarded for the price you had to pay if you can articulate it and learn the lesson. So now I'm going to teach you a lesson so that you can have awareness, so you don't have to go 15 years and have all these results, but you can't teach anybody how you did it. Now, see, I can teach you business strategy all day long, but if you're the same person, it's going to be the same result. because you'll have to look at yourself in the mirror when the truth shows up and nobody's around every single day, no matter how much money you have. The thing about it is, I want you to have whole life success in every area: your family, your money, your health, your mind, your soul, financially, all of it. But if you want that, you must have a strategy to get through that. And this is the 5 steps, the strategy through the storm. Okay, step number 1. How much time I got? I don't even know how much time I have.
You're 10 minutes over, bro. You're good though.
I saw something that said 75 minutes.
Yeah,
so
I know, right? Yeah, you're good.
Going for 75 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna just tell y'all right now. Number 1, acceptance. Until you accept what is, you'll never get to the next level. Denial won't get you anywhere. Number 1, acceptance. 2, build and create. When you feel stuck, find a way to build something, create something, because it starts activating different parts of your brain. And then when you activate different parts of your brain, kind of like when you update a cell phone, it's like it like stimulates the user. Number 2 is build and create. You start stimulating yourself. And when you stimulate yourself, you start stimulating people around you. Build and create. Number 3, find your peace. I heard from a monk, true strength is not when you go and hide in a cave and you're quiet. True strength is when you're amongst the chaos and you choose peace. Find your peace, whether you're saying your morning affirmations, I love myself, I love my nose, love my slightly crooked nose, all these different things of that nature, gratitude lists, journals, and things like that. But find your peace. Breathe. Be gentle with yourself. Because here's the thing. People successful when they get an ulcer and a heart attack by the time they're 50. I'm 40. I'm about to be 41 in 3 weeks. No, it doesn't look like it, but I'm about to be 41 in 3 weeks. Age doesn't make you old. Stress of life does. So when you find your peace, you will have long-term success. Everything that I do is according to long-term. I've seen people have it, lose it, have it, lose it, have it, lose it. Long-term success in every area of your life. Find your peace. Number 3, adapt to whatever nature is giving you. This is not how it used to be. Who cares? Guess what? iPhone is not the way that it used to be either. They just keep evolving and evolving and evolving. The person who evolves with time will also reap the benefits of that specific time. So adapt to wherever life is taking you. When you adapt, you become a different person. And number 5, you don't get anywhere in this life, especially when it comes to success, without having meaningful relationships and resources. So connect with yourself, connect with people. And when you have, through anything, when you have the lens of acceptance, building and creating, finding your peace, adapting, and truly connecting with people regardless, it shapes you and your energy into something that you can't explain. That's why they don't put first graders in 5th grade, because you can't make sense of a level that you're not ready for. So when you do that, you're operating from a different stimulus, which causes you to become a different person. And when you're a different person, life will respond to you different. The outside, do not give the outside power to influence the inside. You change the inside, your outside will mirror that. And that is my time.
Come on, my friend. Guys, listen, if I could drop this mic, I'd just drop it right on the ground for you, Garen. Hey, real quick, there's a couple of things you said that absolutely blew me away. But the one thing that you said was a lot of people don't know how to be with themselves. A lot of people don't know how to be with themselves. And then you followed that up with, I was in prison. I wasn't worried about making money. And that's where I found myself. And you talked about your passion and how you developed your passion. And then that passion began to, because then you said, I began to be okay with myself. I began to be good being with myself. And guys, I don't know about you guys. Yeah, my boy went over about 15 minutes, but that's all right. But I'm going to tell you what, guys. Garen, you know how to be with yourself. That's what I love about you, dude. You know how to be with yourself, and you found yourself when it wasn't about the money. Take a second and talk about that.
So, you know, a lot of times I hear people say, "Oh, I just feel so empty. I just feel so empty." She's like, "And I just give and I give and I give." And I was like, "So when was the last time you gave to yourself?" And they say, I was like, "Okay, so breath out and don't breathe it back in." That's what you're doing yourself. You're not aligned with nature, because nature flows and it goes in and out. So being with myself allowed me to see me for who I really was, beyond the image that I was trying to portray. Because people put on these images, but they don't know any better, because it's a domestication thing that starts like when we're in kindergarten. This person doesn't want to hang out with me, but I'll hang out with this person if I act like this. And that just carries on. It's like almost like adults are like deteriorated children. So learning how to be with myself, I realized that's the greatest gift that you can give to the world, beyond my money. Because if you take everything away, you're still going to have this guy, because money is not my image, even though I have a crap ton of it. My businesses aren't my image, because I don't give any of them power. What I do is I give myself power and allow myself to overflow so much that everything is an extension of me, but everything is not my image. It's an extension of me, and everything, my daughter gets to benefit from me. My wife, I can't give to her before I give to myself, but when I give to myself, she gets the best part of me. I don't want to give her my scraps.
Yeah, there's a reason when you're on a plane and they say in case of loss of cabin pressure, if you have a child with you, put the mask on yourself first and then on the child, because if you're not okay, nobody around you is going to be okay. Bro, listen, man, I love you, man. I'm super grateful for your time tonight, dude. As always, you never disappoint. You always bring it's just not nuggets, dude. It's nugget after nugget after nugget. But for me, it's most people don't know how to be with themselves. And dude, just from following you, just, building our friendship, I see a guy who literally, if everything in the world was stripped away from you, you would probably be better off than 99% of the people. And it would not take you long to get back where you are right now. I love you, my friend. I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you so much. And sorry I missed.
You're good, man. Gary, you're good, man. Hey, guys. Hey, I'd say put your hands together and let Gary know how much you appreciate it, but he's not going to be able to hear you anyway. Hey, listen, my next guest, our next speaker, Gary, love you, buddy. Our next speaker is my good friend, Wes Gay. Wes works for Story Brand. Wes, where you at, buddy?
I don't know where I'm on your screen over here, wondering why in the world I have to go after Garen. I thought you liked me, Ken.
I know, right? I told everybody
the thunder and the lightning and everything else.
I know, right? I told everybody tonight that hey, Wes, he may not bring the fire like some guys, but he has the best hair out of anybody that's going to be on set tonight. I promise you that. Wes is a good friend of mine. Wes is a Story Brand representative. If you've heard of Donna Miller, the book Story Brand, New York Times bestselling author. Wes is probably one of the top 2 people I've ever been around in my entire life to be able to teach people how to communicate with their clientele and with their audience. So Wes, man, tell everybody a little bit about what you got going on right now, and then you've got 10 minutes.
Sure. Is that a real 10 minutes or a preacher 10 minutes, Ken? Because
that's not a Garen Jones 10 minutes.
No, we're good. Way. I hear you. Yeah, I live just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, with my wife and our 2 little kids and our very loud, obnoxious dog. So if you hear him barking in the background, it's probably because the wind was blowing across town. He's a little sensitive. Anyways, so I run a marketing agency. The problem with most companies, particularly when they go to hire a marketing agency, is they just waste a ton of money, right? I mean, Garen can talk about, he's got businesses. I am sure in his businesses, he has felt like he's just lit money on fire trying to hire somebody for their marketing. And that drives me bonkers, because for most of you on this call, maybe everybody's a small business owner, you're in a small business, and you don't have a ton of funds to invest back into the company. So everything has to be of tremendous value. Now, when I look at a company, I think, how do you maximize your investment on something like marketing, like with what we do? I'm admittedly biased, so I'm going to throw that out there. I think you ought to invest your money on figuring out what it is you need to say, because I'm convinced if you can get the words right, everything else will fall into place. I mean, think about what we just heard for the 20 or 25 minutes before this. Garen has clearly spent a lot of time figuring out how he wants to frame this conversation, come up with the right ways to say things so that we hear those things and better understand those things. The same thing happens in your business. The same thing happens in your companies. When you're thinking about how do you market, how do you promote, how do you sell more, how do you make more money, how do you be more effective with email and social media and everything else you're doing, it all comes down to what it is you need to say. Now, the real challenge is figuring out, what do you say? Right? What are those words that are going to better resonate with customers? Because we are in a world that is overwhelmed by words. I read a study a year or two ago that was a few years old at that point, and it said the average person, so you and I, read about 100,000 words a day, right? Think 100,000 words. The average New York Times best-selling book is about 50,000 words in the business category. That's the equivalent of reading Fahrenheit 451 and The Great Gatsby, two books most of us were supposed to have read in high school, but I don't think any of us actually finished them. Imagine reading two books like that every single day. That's the volume of content and noise your clients and your audience is dealing with. We are constantly being hammered, not getting hammered, being hammered with people talking to us. Think about your social media feeds, text messages, email. Maybe you have multiple email accounts. If you got Slack, you've got project management tools, you're reading articles, you're engaging in, I'm sure, unbelievably polite and incredibly civil social media disagreements, right? And what are those? Sometimes you probably have friends who write these discourses on their Facebook that are 20,000 words on their own, right? Your audience is dealing with the same thing. And if you're going to win, if you're going to thrive, if you're going to cut above the noise, particularly as we move into a post-COVID era, as we move in kind of the next phase of our culture, the next phase of our economy, the next phase of our country, I think the people who are going to be who are the best communicators, more specifically the best writers, will win. So in order to do that, you got, like I said, you got to think about what is it that's going to matter to your audience, right? You know what matters to your audience? It's the same thing that matters to you, yourself. Larry King, one of the, I think, most prolific interviewers of all time, once said that everybody's favorite subject is themselves, right? Larry King was on our televisions every night for decades. And how much do we know about Larry King? Almost nothing. Because he never made it about himself. He always made it about the people he was talking to. That's what great interviewers do. That's what great coaches do. That's what great leaders do, is they make it about the people around them. If you want to reach people, you have to start with, what is it that my audience, the people I'm trying to sell to in my business, the people I'm trying to give you today, what is it they want? Right? What is that thing that they're after? Because if I can identify that thing, and it's not, they need to hire you. Like when I worked with Ken's team last year, we didn't walk away going, hey, you know what? What a customer really wakes up in the morning thinking is, I really need Ken. I mean, they might. Ken wakes up thinking, I really want people to hire me. What people are really saying is, I need to buy or sell a house. That's what they want, right? So you talk about, what does your customer want? And then what is their problem? What's keeping them from getting what it is they want? What's that hurdle? What's that obstacle? Because as Garen talked about, the reason there were so many comments as Garen was talking, the reason people love his story, the reason he's got a book, the reason he used to speak all over the world when we could get on planes, and the reason he will get on planes again when that season comes back, is because there's tension, there's struggle, there's problem, there's obstacles in his story. It's why we love movies. It's why we binge watch series on Netflix. It's because there's these tension, these hurdles, these problems that show up in those stories, and that's what draws us in. And the same thing is true when you're talking to your customers. If you can think about the problems they have, if you can think about the challenges they have, if you can think about what's going on in their world, I promise you, you're going to be far more effective, and you're going to actually engage people where they are, because you're going to get to a place where you shine the spotlight away from you and your company, and you move it to your customer, right? The best companies in the world are customer-centric companies. Amazon is their mission statement is to become the most customer-centric company on earth, not to become the biggest bookseller, not to become the biggest online distributor, to become the most customer-centric company on earth, right? Because they know it's all about people. I've literally read stories, and I've talked to people who used to work at Amazon. It's not uncommon at Amazon for them to be in meetings and have an empty chair in the room. The empty chair represents their customer at the board meeting, at the table, at the executive meeting, at the quarterly offsite, whatever it is. They're thinking about that chair represents Ken, our customer, in outside of Birmingham, Alabama, right? What is Ken's problem? What is his issue? What is he struggling with? How do we make his life better? Right? Not only do you need to do that in your company, you need to talk that way. What is it your company's struggling with? And then what you say is, you know what? We're going to come along as your company and we're going to quite literally help you get to where you're going to go. Right? That's what Garen, we just heard it, y'all. We just got through hearing. He's probably got people in his life. He's had moments in his life before and even now where people helping him get to where he's trying to go to live his story. There's not room for us to try to insert our stories into somebody else's life. There's only room for us to identify what our customers and our audience's stories are, and then figure out how do we help them get to where they're going to go. If we can guide people through, if we can play like a Yoda from Star Wars or Obi-Wan Kenobi and say, I'm going to show up and help you get to your destination as opposed to help you get to my destination, I guarantee you will win, right? So you got to think about what is it your customer's after? What are the obstacles in the way? And then how do you help them get there, right? There's more to it. There's this thing called building a story brand. I should have the book in front of me, but I don't. Actually, I do. I've got so many books on my desk and it's embarrassing. But there's this book I highly encourage you to read. It's called Building a Story Brand by a guy named Donald Miller. Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. It walks through 7 storytelling elements that you will, once you read the book, it would forever change how you watch movies and TV shows. I am impossible now to watch anything with because I know what's coming. I know what's going to happen because the plots are all the same. And if it works in movies and TV shows and the books you read to your kids, I promise it works. And how you communicate is think about what is it your audience wants? What is the obstacle? What is the problem? And how do you help them get there? For example, if I was working with a lawn care business, it's called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Highly recommend you get it. It's on Amazon. And if you got bookstores, I've even seen it in the grocery store. So sometimes you can get it in your grocery store. But for example, if I was helping a lawn care company, I would say, what is it customers want? They want a great looking yard. Right? Nobody wakes up in the morning saying, man, I cannot wait to hire a lawn company today. You go outside to get the mail and you're like, oh man, I just need my grass cut. The problem is, right? What is the customer's problem? It's not that they haven't hired you. Their problem is they don't have time to do it. And they feel embarrassed about their yard and they feel embarrassed and overwhelmed by the responsibility. They just need somebody to give them a great looking yard. So enter Ken Jocelyn's Lawn Care Emporium, right? That otherwise, what most of Ken's competitors, if Ken was in the lawn care business, would say, hire us because we're great. I don't care. Like, just make my yard look good and just handle it for me. Right? That's what we did when we worked with Ken. That's what we do with people all the time is figure out when we're communicating to people, you've got to put yourself in the customer's shoes. And the last thing I'll say before we do a little Q&A, if you have questions, drop them in the chat, is I think the number one thing to remember as you're doing all of this is you have to be empathetic. We're seeing that now in this season, the last several weeks with what's happening really globally. The companies, the leaders, the individuals who have not developed an empathy muscle, even in little things like a lawn care company, cannot flex that muscle when there are global issues that we're trying to address right now. Systemic, deeply rooted, historic problems we're trying to address. The reason some people sound so tone deaf is because they have not tried to exercise with their empathy muscles at all. And you can start with your business. You can start with your marketing.
Wes, why do you think it's so difficult for people to, what you said just a minute ago, what you walked our team through back in December, January? Why do you think it's so difficult for people to look at business from the standpoint of, instead of what you said just a minute ago, you come to me, you come to me, you come to me, you help me do what I'm doing or build what I'm doing, versus what you taught me and what Donald teaches in the book of how can I go out and solve the problem that you have?
Yeah. I think people don't do it because it's hard, right? If my option is to talk about myself or to talk about you, it's a lot easier to talk about myself. It's so much easier, but you don't care about me. You care about you. So it's how do I have to do the hard work. There's this, all of us have been in these moments. Maybe you've had days in the office or days at work where you get home by 5:30 or 6 and you're exhausted back when we could go to an office or even at your home office now. And you're like, my Fitbit says I walk 2,500 steps. I didn't even go that far. Why am I so tired? But it's because you sat at your desk all day and it's an annual budget planning. It's some big complicated thing, a problem you're trying to solve. When we think a lot and we think really hard, we actually burn calories. That's why you're so exhausted sometimes when all you've done is sit there for 4 or 5, 6 hours, is because your brain is burning calories. And in order to figure out what matters to your customers and talk about them and not yourself, You have to put in the work. You have to burn the calories. You have to fight for clarity. Your customer will not fight for clarity on your behalf. They will go to your competition 10 times out of 10. You have to fight for clarity because your customer is not going to do it.
That's so good. Wes, what's the best way for people to connect with you, my friend?
Carrier pigeons. No, I'm just kidding. Just find me basically on the internet. So westgay.com, Facebook, I'm just Westgay. Instagram, I'm Westgay. Twitter, I'm Westgay. Whatever LinkedIn's URL structure is, I forget because it's not just LinkedIn.com.
He's got you, Stacy's got you.
There you go, Stacy. I'm just on all the things as Westgay. All the main ones. I'm not on TikTok.
Guys, listen, if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, you owe it to yourself to connect with my friend right here. You absolutely owe it to yourself to connect with him. He is brilliant when it comes to how to communicate, not just what you do, but how you solve other people's problems. And listen, it's literally, bro, it's in my 10X planner every day. What problem can I solve today? And you know what that came out of? That came out of a day session with Wes and my real estate team. That's exactly where it came out of. And every single day I write that down. Wes, thank you, my friend.
Hey, let me say one more thing, Ken. I'd love to help your business, whoever's on this call. So here's what I'd love you to do. Write down my email address, Wes, W-E-S, at Westgay, just my name, WESGAY.com. Send me an email with some piece of marketing materials you've got. Maybe it's your website. Maybe it's an email campaign you're working on. Something you're working on with marketing. Send it to me in an email, and I'll shoot you back a video with a few ways I think you could actually make it better and clearer so that you can be more effective. So that, especially right now as budgets are tight, you're making better investments in your business so that you can grow, reach more people and grow.
Yeah. Wes, I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you, my friend.
Ken. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys, our next guest tonight is very quickly become a dear friend. Greg Reed, how you doing, my friend?
So good, even I want to be me. And before we start, Ginger King sent me some of this speaker balm, so we got to put some bad boy stuff on.
Hey, let me take just a second. I know we're running a little bit behind. Greg is the author of 3 Feet from Gold. Guys, I am a cookies on the bottom shelf guy. I had Greg on my Instagram Live a while back. I literally read this book in about a week and a half, and I do not read any book in a week and a half. And I had Greg. He was so just unbelievably friendly to me when I had him on my Instagram Live. I was in California a few weeks ago. Greg invited me to his house, spent some time with me. And we just struck up a budding friendship, Greg, and I am extremely grateful for you, my friend. And I had David Meltzer on the call a couple of weeks ago on my weekday live, and I'd mentioned Carlsbad, and he mentioned you and just went on and on and on about you. And I said, yep, I know that Greg Reed guy. So, Greg, why don't you tell everybody a little about what you got going on, and dude, just add some value to our people tonight, my friend.
You got it. Hi, everybody. My name's Greg. I'm talking to you from my home in San Diego, California. And for those who don't know my work, real simple. I've been published in 100 books, 45 languages. And I just finished my major feature film called Wish Man, which is trending on Netflix right now. By the way, that was a good story. The founder of Make-A-Wish Foundation, Frank Shankowitz, I asked him a question at an event once. I go, what was your wish? He goes, what do you mean? And well, you're the founder of Make-A-Wish. What'd you want? He says, no one ever asked me. I went, what? I go, I want to be the guy that grants the wish of the founder of Make-A-Wish. I go, what do you want? A new car, a house? I'll give it to you. And he says, no, I just want my story to be told so my grandkids know I did something. So he signed over his life rights, and it took 6 years and more trials and tribulations, and you can imagine. But we ended up making the Ballad for the Oscars, and we're on Netflix showing. You can watch this weekend. And it goes down to the quality of questions. I keep hearing that from the speakers. It's the quality of questions that will get the results that you want. Unfortunately, most people don't ask the right questions. They ask the universe, and understand this, God, the universe is very literal. So if we sit there and say, why does this always happen to me? Well, just like Google says, this is why, you dummy, and gives you more of it. Because that's what you asked for, right? When will the shoe drop on this and go to hell in a handbag? Oh, that's Tuesday at 4. So what we want to do is make sure that we're asking the right questions, so therefore we can get the right answers. It's funny, my kid, he's 8 years old, named Cole. And wherever we go, he always finds money, always finds cash. No matter where we go, comes home, puts on the counter. I go, Cole, why is it no matter where we go, you always find money? I look for it, Dad. And just like Rumi said, Whatever you seek is seeking you. So one of the books he was just talking about, I'm going to do it real quick and get off here. 3 Feet from Gold. It's a story about R.U. Darby, a gold miner who gave up 3 feet away from the largest strike in history. With the moral being, how many times have we quit one class short from a degree or sales or marketing or marriage or, picking up that phone and making that bonus call? And it's the people that persevere. They're the ones that we tell the stories about. But the greatest aha from this entire book for me is I interviewed the founder of string theory. If you ever watch Big Bang Theory, Sheldon, was always working on it. And he said, successful people seek counsel where failures listen to opinion. I said, what's the difference? He said, opinion is based on ignorance, lack of knowledge, inexperience, like a family friend who's never done what you're about to venture upon. Counsel is based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship, people have paved the way. If I go to a family friend and say, I'm going to write a best-selling book, they might try to talk me out of it to protect me because I can't write very good, right? And they've never written a best-selling book. But if I went to Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul and sold 1 billion copies, and asked him for that insights, he's going to say, sit down, here's what you need to know, and give you counsel based on a wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. John Shorts, the inventor of string theory, said, if we would spend our activity only seeking counsel and ignoring people's opinion, that's the day your life would change. And the coolest thing about this call that you're on right now, Ken has done an amazing job of bringing positive, like-minded people that are giving you feedback and counsel from people who have actually accomplished what everyone else is talking about. So I applaud you, brother, and I appreciate you having me on for a little bit.
Thank you, my friend. We're not done yet. I'm not done with you yet. Unless you've got to get out, unless you got to go. I have too much fun spending time with you, my friend. Guys, 2 things. I will say this. I'm fortunate to be able to be around some really cool people. Garen, Anthony Trucks was on last month. I'll be with Anthony next week. Obviously Grant, I'll be with Grant 10X headquarters Thursday and Friday of this week. I get to be around some really special people, but I'm gonna tell you what, there are very few people I get around like Greg who have a heart for people, to help them advance. So Greg, I just wanted to honor you in that, number one, dude. Just literally just blew me away last month, inviting me in your home for 1 hour that turned into an hour and 45 minutes or an hour and 50 minutes, walking me through and showing me even the stuff behind you, just walking me through your life and really answering a lot of questions because you've been down the road that I'm traveling now. And I am super humbled and super honored that you gave me that opportunity. And Greg's the guy where after we got done, I sent him a DM on Instagram. And I said, hey, Greg, I'd like for us to connect soon and unpack some of the things we talked about. And Greg said, Ken, you're my friend. You have my cell phone number. You can call me anytime you want to. That's the kind of guy that's in front of you guys today. And so I want to encourage you guys. I promise you this book, it literally rocked my world. And I see people putting some comments on the book there. One of the things I did want to ask you was, that was my number one spot in your book. And we've talked about this when I had you on before. When I go through a book, I double star, I single star, I underline, I highlight. The first place in my book that has 2 stars in it is the spot about don't seek advice, but seek counsel. One of the things you said earlier, Greg, that kind of just was an aha moment for me was, and I think some other people probably are thinking the same thing, is you've written 100 books, but you never made a movie. Like you never made a movie, but you didn't shy away from making the movie.
Yeah.
Why not? And what did you do in that process to be able to make the movie that you made?
Yeah, and first of all, I didn't write 100 books. I've been publishing 100 books, and I got great ghostwriters and editors. So
Right.
Let me, factual right now. So if you want me to write it, it would be Boyd, action, gets off, kicks ass, go. So that would be what your book is. So I have people that take my gift of gab and create in a way that people would want to read it, just so you know. I did my first book. I was turned down by 265 publishers in a row. The 269th one said, do it, just change the title, beginning, middle, and end. I couldn't write. And I took their counsel, got a ghostwriter, became a phenomenon. Same thing in the movie. I wouldn't let another person talk me out of something that I knew to be true. I'm going to be very careful. I didn't hope, I didn't wish, I didn't believe. I knew I was on to something good. And I wouldn't let people talk me out of it. So I sought counsel, not opinion. I stopped asking people that didn't know what they're doing. And I got access to the guy who created Showtime Television and Oscar winners. And I went up and I met with them and said, teach me, what am I not seeing? Don't be shy. Kick me in the butt. Show me this thing. And they gave me the greatest insights and feedback, but other people would kind of, try to model you. And by applying that, it ended up becoming the success story that it did.
I love it. Tell everybody you mentioned the 200 and some odd letters. Tell everybody what's in a basket right outside your office on the shelf in there.
Yeah, it's all my rejection letters. When they came in, most people would cry and complain. I was kind of looking forward to my rejection letters. I tape them up on the wall, and they became, basically wallpaper, because I knew I was onto something. I just didn't know how to say it. It's kind of like a child wanting to say, a word, but not knowing how to do it. And so what happened is that once I found the tools, all of a sudden, I started applying it. It's so funny. When I went to become a best-selling author, I went to Barnes & Noble. I didn't go to the best-selling action section. I didn't want to be a great writing author. I went to the bestsellers. I called everyone up and said, teach me, what did you do? How did it work? What's the system? And started duplicating it. And look at, now I got a star on the Walk of Fame for being an author, and I came and write myself out of a paper bag, right? So the realities are, work your strengths and hire your weaknesses.
So what would you say to entrepreneurs that are out there right now, Greg, who have an idea or they've got a business and they're just kind of getting going? What would you say to them tonight?
Well, first of all, be careful who you're getting your information from, but also look for this. You and I talked about it real quick, and I'm going to stop because you got to get on your show. CPC. This is the one thing that's changed my entire life.
Clues, patterns, and choices.
It's an acronym. CPC, clues, patterns, choices. It works like this. I'm a single guy. I go out on a date. She's 20 minutes late. No problem. I go up there, but that is a clue, right? If I go on the second, third, fourth date, she's 20 minutes late. There's a pattern forming, right? Now it's my C, choice, whether I deal with it, adjust it, break up, but it's not her fault. She's just late. It's not my job to change someone or fix them. That's what people try to do, and they get frustrated. Clues, patterns, choices. It's like someone with a bad reputation in business. They cheat your best friend. You do business, it'll be different. You get upset because it doesn't go your way, and you're mad at the person. You saw a clue, you saw a pattern, you made that choice. Grow up. It's the same thing as seeing a rattlesnake rattle, bite your kid's sister, and you go to pet it, get bit, and you're mad at the snake. It's about accountability and responsibility for everything that happens. I love you, brother. Go get them. Keep continuing the show.
Greg, thank you, my friend. Hey, guys, you can, in the chat, Stacy's put Greg's Instagram handle there, gregreed.com. Thank you, my friend. I can't wait to hang out and spend some more time together. Hey, guys, listen, check out gregreed.com. Be phenomenal for you guys to get connected with Greg. So now it comes time. Actually, I'm next. So I want to ask you guys a question really quick. I want to ask you a question. I want to talk about certainty versus clarity for just a moment. And one of the things I had earlier today, I had my good friend Ken Coleman. He's a Dave Ramsey guy. He does one of the podcasts, does a phenomenal job doing that. One of the things that Ken said today, he actually quoted Marcus Buckingham, and this is what he said. He said 74% of all people stay on a job. They will live in misery because of the fear of changing jobs and the uncertainty of what would be coming up next. They can't handle the uncertainty. And I just want to, just for a couple minutes, I just want to share this truth with you guys, that people are looking for certainty when what we need is clarity. People are looking for certainty, but what we actually need is clarity. Because see, certainty comes from external circumstances. Now, how many of you guys know, by a show of hands, lift your hand up. Listen, there's no way in the world, based on outside circumstances, with everything that's going on in our world right now, you are not going to have certainty. But what you can, instead of relying on external circumstances, you can rely on internal. And this is one of the things that Garen was talking about so amazingly just a while ago, is what we can find is we can get clarity. And clarity comes from three places. Number one, it comes from reality. Number two, it comes from reason. And the third thing is it comes from relationships. Here's what I want to ask you guys. I'm going to ask you guys this question really, really quick. Y'all see this book? Everybody see this book? This is my training book. So this is my book for the last 6 months of my fitness journey. And you can see every day in this book is full. Here's what I want you to do. I'd love for you in the right-hand column right there. I'm going to give away $100 right now to the person who can tell me this book's probably, 5 inches by 7 inches. Probably got, maybe 100 pages in it. I'm going to give $100 away tonight if somebody can tell me how much this book weighs. Right now, go ahead and type it in the chat. How much does this book weigh? In the chat, 12 ounces. Come on, some more ounces. 15 what? 15 ounces? Come on, let me see some more chat. 24 ounces, 1.2, 2 pounds. Renato said 40 pounds, 40 ounces, 5 ounces, 7. I guess that must be Jimmy. That must be 7 pounds. C-Rock says it weighs a ton. Donna McIntyre, you are close. You know how much this book weighs? This book weighs 42 pounds. Why? Because it's got every workout up until about 2 weeks ago when I started my weight loss journey back in the fall. And Kristen Gilhoo, you are correct. 66 pounds is my goal. But here's how we gain clarity, guys. We gain it 3 ways. Number 1, we gain it from reality. We first have to face what's in front of us. I can't face what's in front of me until I face the reality of where I am. So, Ken, how in the world did you set? John Kerry George said, send money to Venmo. How did you set a 66-pound goal? Let me tell you exactly how I set that goal. I went to a Division I umpire camp this summer. My goal was to umpire this year in my fourth season of doing college baseball. My goal was to work Division I baseball. So I went to the ACC and SEC umpire camp in New Orleans this year. Supervisor of the ACC, supervisor of the SEC, the 2 top baseball conferences in America. I went down there, great reviews for only being 4 years in the game. Everything went phenomenal with the exception of I kept hearing this. Ken, you've got great instincts. You've got a great strike zone. You've got a great rapport with the coaches. You've got a great rapport with the players. But dude, you're going to have to lose some weight, man. You're going to have to drop some weight. I noticed my clothes were a little snug, but I just didn't really notice where I was at until I got home from camp and I stepped on the scale and it said 286.6. 286.6. And I said, Ken, you have let yourself go. You've got to do something. Listen, the only way I was going to gain clarity was to face reality. How did I face reality? I got on that scale. Do y'all know how painful that was for me to be able to get on that scale and look at how I had let myself go and how I had not been disciplined in the area of my personal fitness and in my personal body? I was literally disgusted with myself. But what did I do? Number 1 is I faced reality. I immediately I wrote down 66 pounds. I want to get to 220. I'm down 42 pounds. I got below 250 probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago for the first time in over 20 years. But the only way I was able to start that journey was to get clarity in the reality of where I was. The second thing I had to do is I had to reason. I had to change my mindset. I literally had to think at a different level. Because here's what happens. When you think at a different level, you begin to move at a different level. And when you move at a different level, you begin to expect at a different level. I had to change my mindset. The third thing I did is I had to reach out relationally. So what did I do? The moment I got on that scale and it said 286, I said, you know what? I had to face reality. Now I've got to change my mindset. And the third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to relationships that I have for people to be able to hold me accountable. The moment I set that goal, the first thing I did was stick it on social media. People go, Ken, man, I see you in the gym every single day. If you looked at my post today on Instagram at Ken Jocelyn, you see me. Ken, why are you always posting these sweaty pictures? Why are you always posting these pictures of yourself on the bike or in the gym? You want to know why? Because I made a commitment to myself about 6 months ago that I was going to lose 66 pounds. There was nothing going to stand in my way. The most painful part of that journey was facing reality. I had to get clarity. There was no way I was going to be able to, one of my personal goals in my 10X journal, I write my goals down twice a day. One of those goals is Division I baseball this year. There's no way that goal was ever going to come to pass until I faced reality. I first had to step on the scale and go, dang, what have I done? Or what have I not done? But what it did in that moment, I did that back in August, was it gave me a sense of clarity. I knew where my starting point was. So when I set the goal, 286.6, I want to get down to 220. Here's what I have to do. I was able to reverse engineer that 12-month goal. The second thing I did was I had to change my mindset. Okay, if I'm going to do this, I've got to change my mindset. How did I change my mindset? Every single day I work out. Every single day I post it on social media. Why? Because it helps me change my mindset. And let me tell you what happens. My sisters, it's funny. I've got two younger sisters. They just don't understand it. They text me about once a week or once every couple of weeks. And they're like, it is so disgusting. Why do you put sweaty pictures of yourself on social media? Because I'm changing my mindset. And because I need relationships to be able to hold me accountable. And not only that, guys, but let me tell you what happens. 2, 3, 4 times a week, every week, without fail, every single week, I get a DM or I get a phone call or I get a text message from somebody that says, Ken, I see you being faithful in the gym. And let me tell you something. I saw your picture today and I've watched your progress from, hey, down 8 pounds. Hey, down 10 pounds. Hey, down 12 pounds. Hey, down 15. I remember every one of these steps, guys. Hey, I'm down 18 pounds. Woo, today I hit 20 pounds. Hey, I'm 21 pounds. Hey, I'm 24. Hey, I'm still 24. Hey, I'm still 24. Okay, hey, now I hit the 25-pound plateau. In those incremental steps, think incremental, not monumental. Incremental over time always will equate to monumental improvement. Every single day. I remember when I hit the 36, 37 pounds. Some of you guys on the call tonight, you're going to remember that. 36, 37 pounds. I got a call from Cynthia, who's on the call tonight. She's one of my clients. She called me. She goes, dude, you've been stuck at 36, 37 pounds. You're going to have to change something. Something's going to have to go on. You're going to have to change something. And this was in the middle of COVID. So it's no Planet Fitness. I'm having to work out in my basement. I've got a treadmill, weight rack. I hate running. Absolutely. I despise the treadmill. But listen, our level of discipline is always revealed in our results. Our level of discipline is always revealed in our results. So what did I do? I took my treadmill life from 4 miles a day to 5 miles a day. I took it from 3 to 4 to 5. And what happened? I began to lose more weight and I dropped and I got over the 40-pound mark. And now I'm at about 41 to 42 pounds is where I'm at today. So I would challenge today, you're not going to find certainty, not in the midst of COVID, not in the midst of everything that our country is as we try to figure out how do we reconcile racially? How do we reconcile cultures? How do we reconcile? How can I stop for just a moment and listen to my brother or my sister? How can I listen to somebody else? In the midst of all that, guys, I promise you, you are not going to find certainty, but you can find clarity. If you'll first face reality, if the second thing is you'll face reason and change your mindset. And the third thing is if you will lean on relationships. Listen, the people ask me this all, Ken, how in the world have you seen your business grow 800%? Somebody typed in earlier when after Josh went, and then even when Garen went, Ken, how did you get this lineup? How did you get these guys? Let me tell you how I did it. I sat down with Nate May, who's my business development guy. And I said, Nate, when we do this podcast, when we do these weekday lives, I want people to look back in 6 months or a year and go, how in the world did Ken get these guys? How did he build a relationship? How did I get Greg Reed, the author of 3 Feet from Gold, that Brandon Dawson's been talking about for 6 months? How did I spend an hour and a half in Greg's home? I reached out to him and built a relationship with him through social media, just through DMs. I built relationships with these people. I added value to these people. And I'll tell you this right here real quick. It was either Greg or one of the other guys we've got on tonight reached out to Stacey, my executive assistant, said, hey, is it okay if Greg talks about his book tonight? And I said, listen, Greg can talk about whatever Greg wants to talk about tonight, because I believe in what he's doing. And this is about building Greg's platform, because I know what kind of character and I know what kind of man he is, that when he succeeds, everyone else around him is going to succeed as well. So guys, listen, let me bring in our next guest. Let me see if I can find, there she is. Tori is in here. Let me, Tori, I'm going to make you if I can, let me make you a co-host real quick. Yeah, our level of discipline is always revealed in our results. If you're not seeing the results that you want to see, always increase the level of discipline, and your results will always be revealed in that level of discipline. Guys, I want to just huge thank you to you guys. Listen, if you're on tonight, growstackdrive.com, I would love to connect with you. I would absolutely love to connect with you. I would love to meet you. You can go on growstackdrive.com or kenjostengroup.com. You can go on there and schedule a free 15-minute time with me. We're literally just would love to hear from you, connect with you, and add value to you in any way that we can. Tori Cruz, where's my sister in the house tonight?
Hey, how are you?
Come on, girl. How are you doing?
Great. So good to see you. Man, that's a tough act to follow right there.
Hey, I had to go after Greg Reed and Garen Jones and Josh York as they were spitting fire tonight. Guys, this is Tori Cruz, a phenomenal friend. We haven't known each other very long. Again, we built a relationship doing the very same thing. Sherry Ennis from 10X HQ said, you have got to reach out to my girl, Tori Cruz. I did, had her on my Instagram live, had her on our weekday live, and said, Tori, you'd be a phenomenal fit to be here. Super proud of this young lady, dude, her passion for Jesus, her passion to help people. Tori, take a couple minutes, tell everybody a little about who you are and about what you've got going on, and bring that fire, girl.
Absolutely. Well, first off, before I introduce myself, I just want to thank you very much for what you're doing here. It's absolutely incredible, and props to you and your team, because it's been phenomenal so far. But I just want to thank you and everybody on this call. Number one, you are the action takers, and you're my people. I love people who take action. You take advantage of these awesome summits that Ken's team is putting on. And this is just, it's where it's at. So I want to give you guys all a huge congrats too, just for taking the time out of your day to do this and learn and grow and work on yourself. So I'm Tori Cruz. If you haven't heard of me before or know what I do, I'm a mindset and confidence coach for women. And I was also Miss Missouri USA 2018, and then went on to compete at Miss USA. So I didn't grow up in Missouri, though. I grew up in small town Iowa, where, everybody knows everybody in the town. You wave at every car that goes by you. And I played sports growing up. So pageants were never even one of those things that I thought was even in my journey. So when I was playing sports growing up, though, I always had these different doubts and confidence issues, but I never really thought too much about it until I went to college. And I saw an ad for Miss USA, and I was like, heck, maybe I could do this thing. And then I was like, yeah, no, that's a funny joke. I played sports growing up. There's no way I could compete in pageants. And so I ended up, long story short, for time's sake, I ended up clicking on this Facebook ad and ended up competing at a state level at Miss Iowa Team USA at that time. Placed semifinalist, thought I was going to win the dang thing because, that competitive nature inside me as a basketball player in high school, I thought I was going to win. Well, little did I know I had a lot to learn. And so competed in pageantry, semifinalist. And this goes back to what you were saying as well, Ken, is, you keep just like, you were at that one weight for so long. And then you had to keep pushing and persevering. And then you finally got over that little hump. And I resonated with that so much. That was really similar to my pageant journey of, competing and never winning. And then the fourth year I finally competed, it was like, all right, why am I doing this thing? And that's when it really hit me, where it's like, if you have a goal or a dream that you're trying to pursue and you haven't figured out that deep why you're doing it yet, it's going to be really hard to reach that, because you need that deep why with those feelings and knowing those rewards that you're going to get at the end of it. And you need to know those in order to actually get there and achieve that. So once I did with pageantry, I ended up hiring, I've told you this before, Ken, but I've had 22 coaches in the past 10 years. Some people think it's insanity. I even think it's a little crazy, but investing in yourself is something I will always, always say is one of the most important things to do. So in the past 10 years, I had 22 coaches. I really narrowed in on my mindset and my confidence. And I was like, here I was, doing all the runway work, doing all the interview work, and had the gown, had the wardrobe, and had the spray tan, all this stuff, where I thought it mattered. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter. I ended up winning a couple years later at Miss Missouri USA in 2018. And I realized that it wasn't because I had the best runway walk. It wasn't because I had the best interview on stage, and definitely didn't matter that I had a good gown. It was that my mindset was right. Funny story. The year that I won, I did the complete wrong routine for the swimsuit portion. So everybody else, there were 52 girls competing the year that I won. 51 girls did the same routine down the runway. What did I do? I went off the runway. I was so focused. I don't even know what I was doing, but I went the complete wrong routine. One girl out of 52 girls, and I ended up winning. And that is because I owned the dang thing. And I was like, you know what? I knew in that moment when I went off the wrong way of the stage, I knew I did it the wrong way, but it was because I believed in myself. And at that point in my life, I'd done so much work on my mindset and my confidence that it didn't matter. So that was one of my biggest learning experiences with that. And then I went on to compete at Miss USA, and that was an incredible experience. And, it was an 8-year journey. And it was a lot of every time that I would lose, so to speak. I don't like to say losing. I always like to say you either learn or you win. But those years that I was getting knocked down and time again, I wasn't winning. And then it was like, okay, what do I do so I can take this and go to the next level the next year? How can I push harder? Even though I want to sit there and cry after I didn't win because I'm a competitive person. I was like, dang it, I just want to win this thing. But then I developed that bigger purpose in wanting to help women and wanting to share my story of, hey, I didn't just wake up confident. I didn't just wake up believing in myself. And to be honest, I still have doubts, but I know how to control those now because I can control my mindset and my thoughts. And so throughout those years, what I really learned is, talking about this whole process of COVID time, I feel like those years of perseverance allowed me to live for these times of crisis moments and break through these times of crisis moments. And it's in those little, just like you're saying, those little habits, Ken, that is so important that you develop, and that consistency. And I tell you what, you teed me up perfect for this because I have 3 things. I'm huge on action steps, huge. In my coaching programs, my girls know they're going to get missions for the week and they're going to go practice it because I love these actionable takeaways. So what I want to share briefly with all of you today, I want to share clarity, confidence, and consistency, the importance of all of those. And Ken, you already touched on clarity and I love it. But for me, clarity, what's really important now is, we just went through this worldwide pandemic and still, facing it a little bit here as we come out of it. But something with clarity that is very, very important that I have personally used lately is to look back at the beginning of 2020 and say, okay, what were my big audacious goals that I wanted to say, hey, by December 2020, I want to have these knocked out, completed. What were those? Just pick 3. And what were 3 of those? And then I want you to get clear on what those were and really dive deep. There's many steps in this process, but really dive deep and saying, okay, are those still relatable to our time right now? It's okay, you guys, if your goals, your dreams have to change in the process. I mean, after every year of competing, I had to reanalyze my coaches and be like, hey, is this group serving me? Is this group what's going to take me to the next level and win? If that's your goal, is to win at something, then you need to reanalyze your goals and your team and who you're surrounded with as well. So really getting clear on those beginning 2020 goals, I'd write those down. And then also some of your habits. Get clear on those habits, you guys. Let's be real. We're all human. We all probably created at least one bad habit during quarantine. I mean, I probably ate way too much bread. I'm human. I probably had a little bit too much red wine, not going to lie. But you know what? I still was accomplishing my dreams. I was still accomplishing my goals. But there were a couple, like I said, I had way too much bread, maybe too much dessert on some days, but heck, it happened. So I want you to go back and say, hey, what habits did I create during that time of quarantine? And now that we're coming out of this COVID time, what happened? They're done. See ya. Like that happened, but what, you don't have to keep them. And let's change that. So just getting clear on where you've been, where you want to go is really, really important to success. Moving on to confidence. To develop confidence in yourself, what I like to do is visualize your success. So whatever those three, let's pick 3 audacious goals that you still want to compete by 2020. What you need to sit there and visualize that success. So think of the feelings that you'll get, think of the benefits that you'll get after accomplishing those, and close your eyes, maybe meditate on it for like 5 or 10 minutes. Visualize those and you will end up having confidence, because when you achieve them, picture when you're visualizing, sit back in your chair and imagine it's December 2020 and really just feel it. Heck, when I visualize, sometimes I cry because I'm so happy I've accomplished something so big. I had no clue that I would ever be able to do it. And by the time you accomplish it, you're like, heck, I've been here before and it feels good. And you have confidence in yourself. And then lastly, consistency. Consistency is huge. And Ken just nailed it on the head right there with this working out and the consistent habit of working out every single day. And if that is, something for you, move your body like at least 30 minutes a day. You don't have to be posting all the sweaty pictures and stuff, even though they motivate the heck out of me. I'm not going to lie, because I'm like, dang, I didn't sweat that much in the gym, but maybe I should go back and do 2-a-days or something. But regardless, move your body, whatever that is. It's super huge. And then also gratitude practices are very, very important to me, especially during these times where we have a lot going on in our world. There's a lot of heartache. There's a lot of change, but we need to focus also. Yes, we need improvement on many different things, but focus on the gratitude and focus on what little things in life are you still grateful for? You still lay your head on a pillow at night, hopefully. We still have fresh water. We still have sunshine, hopefully, wherever you're at, or whatever that may be. Toothpaste to brush our teeth. Like, it doesn't have to be big at all, but just so you're walking around and being like, wow, okay, I am grateful that we still have these beautiful things in life. And I often call them whispers from God too. If you see a little sign, maybe a bird fly by and it's just making a beautiful sound, something like that. So that is my 3 steps. We can dive way deeper in that sometime if you're interested, but I do, Ken, before we keep rolling forward, I want to give all the listeners here a free breakthrough blueprint to download. And you can find that on my Instagram at Miss Tori Cruz, or Stacy. Yep, there we go. She's on it. I love it. Or you can click there in the chat, but that's just a guideline for what I just talked about. And you can take a deeper dive in that, but I won't talk too much. I know we have more.
No, you're good, girl. There's a couple of things I do want to talk about. One of the things you mentioned tonight, one of the things you didn't mention tonight, guys, listen, I interview a lot of amazing people. I mean, I get an opportunity to interview the best of the best. And I'm going to be honest with you, Tori probably gave me the one line that I have not forgotten above out of all the people. It's been one of the number one things. But you talked about 22 coaches, and I think you said it was 9 years you competed, which leads me into what you told me before, that every no gets you closer.
One step closer to your yes.
It's
absolutely.
One step closer to
every single year. It was like, hey, I didn't get this yes that I wanted and I fought for and I trained for so hard, but it was like, nope, that's out. That was keep piling those over there because they keep filtering out. And then I'm one step closer to my yes. And that was yes. That's very, very true for any goal that you have. Is just throw that no away. Don't let it stop you from moving forward and getting more success and, achieving your biggest dreams.
Yeah. And not only just throw it in away, guys, but having the mindset of, and you talked about it, clarity, confidence, consistency, having the mindset of, hey, a no gets me closer to my yes. Mm-hmm. A no gets me closer to my, it's okay. So it's not a personal thing that sticks or adheres to us. It's, hey, you know what? I'm closer to my yes.
Yes.
22 coaches in 9 years before you got the crown.
It's 22 coaches in the past 10 years. So
yeah,
there was not quite,
yeah.
But hey, you know what? Potato at that point. I mean, it's a lot, but yeah, it was, investing in yourself. And then, like I said, the reason why I had really so many was because I knew where my goals were. And if my coach didn't have that same vision, maybe they just wanted me to win a local level or something like that, but they didn't see me winning Miss USA or Miss Universe or something, that large, which I didn't. I didn't at all. But I wanted somebody that was thinking that big, because that's what brought me my company now, really.
The only way you're going to get where you're at is to get around those types of people.
Absolutely.
So 22 coaches, 9 or 10 years. What was it like when they do? Because I think they do the first runner up, and that way you win. Is that kind of how that works?
Yes.
You hear that, and it's you.
I mean, that was the visualization where I told you that I was bawling, because I visualized that for 4 years before I even won Miss Missouri. And another thing is that I wrote down Miss Missouri USA 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. I would write it down every single day. And then, so once I got there, like I said, in that consistency, the visualization, once I got there, I feel like I'd already been there, because I visualized what I wanted. And it wasn't in a way where, I was thinking too highly of myself, or so. It was like a humble, like, thank you, Jesus. When I got crowned, they announced my name, and I literally pointed up, because it was like, it was all him. And, I did all that I possibly could, humanly could. And I have a phenomenal support system. I always give it to them for many of my successes. But, at the end of the day, it's him. And so I just said, thank you, Jesus. And about time, because I think my dad and brother weren't going to come to another pageant.
Tori, listen, I love your humility. I love your passion for life. I love following you. I love how you're literally instilling confidence into women, vision into women. Man, I love what you're doing. And guys, listen, take advantage. Tori put her link to her free breakthrough right there, her free breakthrough blueprint. Take advantage of that. Highlights and Heels is her website. Listen, the one thing, probably if I wear a badge of honor for Virtual Summit or some of the things we've done, it's not necessarily the names that we bring on here, but it's the DNA. It literally is person after person after person. It's the DNA of people who have such a heart to help people win in their life. And that's the number one thing. That's probably the biggest thing I love about you, girl.
Well, thank you, Ken. I really appreciate it. And I just want to say one last thing to everybody is that, you weren't given another day because we needed it. We were given another day because somebody needs you. So just remember that there could be one at least person out there that needs you in their life. So if you're going through a tough time right now because of these circumstances in life, there's someone out there that needs you. So remember that.
I appreciate you, girl.
Appreciate you, Ken.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Yeah. Hey guys, listen, our final guest tonight is one of a very, very dear and close friend. If you're in the 10X community, you're going to know exactly who I'm talking about. There are a few guys that I get around that if I've got a thought or an idea, or hey, this is I want to pitch it. I pitch an idea to, or hey, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Antonio White's going to be one of those guys. So if you would do this for me real quick, I know nobody can hear you. Would you put your hands together and welcome my friend, the pitch freak, Antonio White, all the way from San Francisco, California. My guy has got a tuxedo on tonight.
My man.
Come on, my friend.
How do you make an introduction?
Not that good.
The first 30 words out of your mouth are the most anticipated, the most important, and the most valuable in any presentation that you make. The first 10 seconds, 30 words. That's all it takes to get people interested and engaged and emotionally connected. I want to tell you a little story. The story is 1999, about July, and I'm flying to, you guys remember that Beach Boys song? Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I want to take you to Bahamas. You know, right? It's in your head, right? Key Largo, Montego. We all know that song, right? What a beautiful island. I went to the island of Aruba in July. I need to get my head clear. I was, talk about problems with the economy. Not only do you have what's going on right now with COVID, but now we had 2008, the problem in 2008. But if you guys remember 2000 in Silicon Valley, that was the dot bomb. That's when the whole skyrocketing internet thing went all the way to the toilet. But 6 months before that happened, I was in a mindset where I just needed to break free and clear my head. So my dad had always thought about me going to Aruba. It was on his bucket list. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to go someplace to clear my head, it might as well be Aruba. And so I booked my ticket and I went to Aruba. And let me tell you, it changed my life. When I got there, I could not believe how beautiful this island is. It's just above South America. It's about 17 miles from the north tip of Venezuela. 17-hour plane ride to get there. As soon as I got to Aruba, I checked in the hotel. I took a shower and I went right to the beach. And when I went right to the beach, they had the service right on the beach. I said, they said, "What is your drink of this establishment?" And they said, "Oh, sir, it's the Aruba Reba." I said, "My man, I would like an Aruba Reba every 30 minutes. And every third Aruba Reba, please bring me something to eat so that I don't hurt myself out on the beach." I said, "Yes, sir." I sat down on the beach, and that was my day, sitting on the beach. There was a little bar nearby that I'd go out and hang in a hammock during the course of the day. And there was bankers and vice presidents, people from all over Europe coming in to hang out out there. It's a Dutch colony. And I meet the most amazing people there. But these people are very ragged, shorts and T-shirts and what have you. You'd never guess this person's the president of this bank or the VP of this bank or own this company, whatever. And they all wanted to just give it up and start a bar in Aruba. And after about 3 days of that, I was thinking pretty much the same thing. I said, that sounds pretty good to me. And I decided one day I was going to get off the beach and go walk around a little bit. And so I walked around the downtown area, and it's a cute little downtown area. And I found a restaurant, beautiful little restaurant, open air restaurant. And in this little shopping area of Aruba, the people are so friendly. The food is so delicious. And by the way, if you want to say welcome or hello in the Aruban language, it's bonbini, B-O-N-B-I-N-E, bonbini. It's like bienvenidos. It's welcome. And so I went to the restaurant, had something to eat. They have wonderful food. Their shrimp is incredible over there. And I'm sitting down next to a big open area where there's a window and an alley. There's a little alley where cars can pass through. I'm eating my meal. Every once in a while, a car passes through. And I'm not thinking anything of it. But I'm just about to finish up my meal. And I notice, out of the corner of my eye, there seems to be somebody walking down the road. Walking down the road where cars are supposed to be walking down the road. It's just a single lane road. And I'm thinking, that's strange. So I kind of peek over my side there, and I realize there's a gentleman walking down the alley just like this. And I'm thinking, this is the craziest thing I ever saw in my life. He had, he had some white shorts on. I think he might have had some flip flops, no shirt. He seemed like a very interesting guy, distinguished dude, a very tanned skin with a George Hamilton kind of look to it here, just walking down as if that's how you do it. And my waitress was coming next to me to give me the bill, and she gave me the bill, and she said, "What do you think that he's doing?" I said, "What do you think he's doing?" She says, "I think he's driving his car." So he's just walking like this down the alley where the car is supposed to be, walking down, he's driving his car. I thought that's the strangest thing I ever saw in my life, but that's fine. So I pay the bill and I'm walking outside and I walk across the street thinking, I wonder where that guy's going. I wonder where he's in a rush to go today. Where is his next job? And as I do so, I pass an alley, and just for some reason, I just turn and I look at this alley, another alley, two cars. Two sides of this alley. And I look down the alley, and here is the guy driving away from me in his imaginary car down the alley. And I looked, and he stops. I said, "Oh," I might have got his attention. I'm a little bit worried now that now I've caught myself an international incident of some sort. And he turns around. You know how he turns around and he starts walking backwards. He started walking backwards. I said, he starts walking backwards and he's doing this as he's walking backwards. And he's steering his car as he's walking backwards. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's reversing. And then I kind of start, my mind starts whirling. And I think, what's he doing? Is he going to run me over in his imaginary car? What's about to happen? And I realized there was a space between two cars in this alley. I thought to myself, oh my goodness, this is not even possible. Nobody will possibly believe this. He was preparing to park his car in this open spot between two cars in this alley. He was about to park his imaginary car between two other cars in this alley. And he was doing a heck of a job, by the way. He was steering, he was looking back. This is 1999. So this is before, background, backup cameras and all these other things here. So he's backing up, checking it out here, walking right into position in between the two cars. I thought, well, that guy did a heck of a job, except for one problem. I thought he was done. He was not even close to done. Here's what happened next. And I'm not joking. This is a true story. I've never told this story in public before in my life. This is the first time I'm telling it. This gentleman pulled out of the parking space. Got back into the alley again. What did he do? Turned around and parked the car again. Why? Because his imaginary car was too damn big for the space. Let me set that in let that sink in for a moment. This was an imaginary car. If it was my imagination, my car would grow and then be long and grow small based upon my needs. This guy's imaginary car was so precisely constructed that he knew it was too big to fit in this space, even though it was an imaginary car. Fine. Parked the car. Great. Good job. Actually, he parks the car better than I do sometimes. Only took him twice. He got out of the car, closed the door, started walking towards me. I was frozen like a deer in headlight. I didn't know what the heck to do, except he did one last thing. He turned around, looked back at his car, and he had his imaginary alarm. Clicked, and he even did a little clicking sound. He set an alarm for his imaginary car. I don't even know what to do with this information, except for this. I figured there would be one point in my life where this story would make sense, and it makes sense right now. How does it make sense right now? I'm looking at all you guys right now. His imaginary car was a box. It was a box that had meaning behind it. It has so focused how it was constructed. He knew it was too big to fit into the space. He had to repark it. How many of you have imaginary boxes that you live in right now? How many of you have created or had created for you an imaginary box that's keeping you from what you want in life? I'm talking about your mindset. Your mindset is an imaginary box. Let's make this thing tie to getting out of COVID. I would like to offer you an idea, because I'm looking at these boxes on Zoom and I see Eden and I see Stacey Harris and I see Lucia, right? And I see Brian Dempsey and I see Jocelyn and Susie and Sophia, right? I see Kevin and Yolanda. I see Tori and David Ridenour, who does more push-ups than me. I don't know how he does it. He's 67 years old. He can do 275 push-ups in a day. I don't know how he does it. I see Doug V. I see Jared, my man Jared. I see Lucia, who's going to be a champion of the world. And I see all you guys in these little boxes. And here I am in a box. Pitch Freaks in a box. What do we do about it? How do we even know that we're in a box? I'm telling you, you're in a box right now. I just gave you a story explaining that you're in a box. You might not know it. Here's one way that you might know it, though. How do you go through your sales process? How do you go through your sales process right now? Are you focused on closing deals? Are you focused on a disconnected approach because it's just a numbers game? Are you focusing on presuming that the sale is going to close? If so, you might be in a box. Being in a box means you are putting money at risk. It means you are losing opportunity. let me tell you another way. Let me help you lift the lid off this box. My man Ken talks about the lid, such an important concept here. Well, in this box concept here, you got to lift the lid off the box and see what's on the outside. And the outside of this box, where we are disconnected, we're focused on selling, and we presume that we are going to close deals. Outside that box is service. Outside that box is emotionally bonding and connecting with people, treating them like human beings. It's not about how many calls you make. It's about how many connections you build. I want to give you guys 3 steps. 3 steps that can change your life. If you would like to increase your sales by 20% immediately, all you need to do is 3 things. Number 1, articulate your value from your prospect's perspective. Number 2, build an emotional connection based upon the value received by that prospect. And number 3, invite them to come join and learn more about your product or offer. By the way, that's 10 minutes. FYI. I mean, I'm not, who's counting?
Hey, any questions for Antonio, guys?
I love you guys. Get out of the box. Get out of the box and close with your open.
Dude,
I call it close with your open. If you got questions here for me, I'm happy to answer them here. My new book, Close with Your Open, is all about reversing the whole concept of flipping the script to increase your sales.
What were those 3 steps again, Antonio?
First one is articulate your value from the prospect's perspective.
Yep.
This idea is we have so many ideas of what we think is important with our product or service. We think this is the best thing since sliced bread. But if your customer doesn't think so, it doesn't matter how much we think about how wonderful it is. We have to articulate value from our prospect's perspective so we can connect with them. And then the second approach is we want to build an emotional connection. How will your customer, your prospect feel once they receive your product or service and it's working in perfect order? What's the emotion they're going to have? I'll give you 2 that you can work with. One is joy and the other one is relief. How will your customer experience joy or relief as a result of your product or service being executed perfectly? And then the third one, the last one, is we want to be able to invite people to learn more. Remember, I'm talking about front loading your presentation. Just like you front load an action movie. You don't leave the action till the end of the movie. You put the action right up front. James Bond gets started right away.
That's right.
If you want to engage people right away, you put the action right up front. Ken loves to say, put the cookies on the bottom shelf, right? Put the action right up front, right? If you cannot compel people right up front with your presentation, you are doing them a disservice. Think about this. This is not built on some science, by the way. I didn't just come out of this without the top of my head. YouTube did a big data analysis, and they watched millions and millions of videos. And what they discovered is watching hundreds of thousands of people click on video thumbnails in YouTube is that after clicking on a video, on a thumbnail that somebody said that they were interested in, 20% of the people who clicked on that thumbnail abandoned that video within the first 10 seconds. Why is that? They abandoned that video because YouTube is the largest video search engine in the planet.
Wow.
If they can't find the information they were looking for on your video within 10 seconds, there are millions and millions of alternatives that they can go view. They can spend their time elsewhere. And so in my mind here, the idea is the same thing for your presentation, whether you're on the phone call, whether you're on your own video, whether you're making a speech, a presentation, wow them from the beginning. Steve Martin had a great masterclass, and Steve Martin, the famous comedian, and he was talking to his students, and then the students, he said, if you go out on stage, instead of thanking the person who introduced you, instead of engaging in some pitter patter with folks, kill the audience with your first joke. Make your first joke the funniest, because that's going to set the whole tone for your entire presentation. So I hope you all feel like I brought you some value today here, practicing what I preach here. I challenge you guys to close with your open, make a lasting impression, and make sure you do it up front.
That's good. Antonio, real quick, a couple questions, and then we're gonna do one thing, we're gonna be done. Talk to me about, so when you say the importance of the first 30 words that you say, give me an example of a client or something that you've worked with recently and how that's changed for them in what they say, and then how that changed their business because of what they said.
Would you like me to give you an example of a company in 2008 that was probably underwater, about $100,000 a month here, and I helped them turn around with 3 words? Would that answer the question for you?
Yes, sir.
A company called Ideal Restoration. You can look at them up at idealsf.com. Family business. The father who started the business here was a Vietnam veteran. He started a cleaning business. They call this business a building drying business. The offers that they made to people here were drying their carpets, drying their walls. If they flooded here, they'd help them with different things. They would get rid of blood stains from murder scenes, all kinds of things, coffee stains here, all kinds of things that they would do. They'd clean buildings, essentially. After about a month of spending time with them, and they were in the hole, and it's 2008, mind you, they were looking for any idea that they could to get ahead. And there's 40 people's job on the line. Jacqueline Carper is the CEO of Ideal Restoration. She just took over the business from her dad. She's an absolute superstar, stellar, amazing leader. We got into a room. We whiteboarded here. Ken loves to use the whiteboard. That's one of my favorite tools as well. It's probably the most important tool you can have is your whiteboard. And we whiteboarded for a good, I'd say, 2 months. And in that 2 months, I figured out a couple things. One is her geographical territory that she was offering service was way too large. And the menu offer that she has was way too much. So we focused on 2 things. One is we were going to dominate San Francisco. And we're talking about big businesses in San Francisco, but we're going to dominate San Francisco because that's where she was near. And we were going to own one service. And that one service was water damage restoration. And we wanted to own that service for high-rise, high-tech companies. So we came up with a 3-word pitch: water damage deleted. That company's going on about $8 million this year. I'm happy to say they're growing like hotcakes. They escaped all the problems that they had in 2008. They're doing well. As a matter of fact, they've grown into an area where they're focusing on helping people get back to work from COVID, because now they've expanded into all the facilities cleaning, as far as the virus cleaning. And now they've gotten to these other areas here where they're doing actually building recovery systems and solutions here. So that's how you do it. You go from serious confusion, focus on what you think your business is, to 3 words that you know your audience needs. If I have a flood, I need this water damage deleted. I want to click a button and this water damage is gone. That became the tagline for Ideal Restoration. So we designed their cars, their brand, their truck, their advertising, their uniforms, everything builds up. You create your pitch first, is that your foundation? And then you build your brand on top of that foundation of the pitch. Does that help out?
Absolutely love it. Hey guys, Antonio, thank you a ton tonight, my friend. I love you. Look forward to being in San Francisco with you next week.
Cheers. Good to see you, baby. We'll see you soon. By the way, this is Pellegrino, y'all. So I gotta make just only for effect. Thank you, Ken, for letting me be a part of this here. Thank you all guys for your attention here, and much love to you. Keep pitching.
Y'all can catch Antonio at pitchfreaks.com. Real quick, I want to bring my good friend in, Zach Tatum. Zach, where you at, my friend?
How's it going?
What's up? Hey, guys, I want to introduce you to Zach real quick. Zach's company is Market House and Site Now. Zach has been a friend of mine now for, probably 10 to 12 years. I've known Zach for a long time. Zach and his team handle all of the website, all of the graphics, everything you see on my YouTube channel as a partner for us. Zach is offering right now a free 30-minute consultation on your website, on your branding, on your graphics. Zach did actually, when I pastored my church, Zach pretty much did all the graphics there. Zach is a phenomenal guy. One thing you guys will learn about me, I don't pitch a lot of people that I don't know or that I don't trust. It's DNA is huge for me. Character integrity, huge for me. I wanted to bring Zach on tonight, number one, to say thanks in front of everybody. Zach's the brains behind everything that goes on, from the time you register to the graphics looking good to the website to everything that we do have. As a matter of fact, since I got Zach right here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you what we've got coming on next month. That's going to be July the 21st. It's going to be Brandon Dawson, David Meltzer, Steve Trang. And if some of these guys you may not be familiar with, Steve Trang's one of the most phenomenal entrepreneurs in America right now, one of the top real estate brokers, house flippers in America. Serena Poon. Serena's a celebrity chef who has her own television show. I actually had Serena on our Weekday Live the other day. Jared Mirsky, who is one of the top graphic design and entrepreneurs in America. And then Dr. Mudgall, who is the top dermatologist in New York City. Dude, this guy right here, if you have not listened to the Instagram live I did with him about a week ago, was absolutely phenomenal. And guys, none of that could take place without Zach and his team at Site Now and at Market House. Zach, what's a good link or what's a good way for people to connect with you to do the free evaluation of where they are?
If you go to mkt.house, virtual summit is one way. And then we also have sitenowlive.com /virtual summit there as well. Love to connect with you guys, get you guys started in the right direction, grow your business in a whole new way.
Perfect. And if you guys have got any questions about that, you can connect with me. Stacy's putting the stuff there in the chat. Well, I would love for you guys to connect with Zach as well. Next month, Virtual Summit sign up is ready to roll. Zach, thank you, my friend. Thanks for being a great friend, a great dad, great husband, and man, just love. And Zach, also, how much weight have you lost?
About 40 pounds. 45 pounds.
Zach's also been on that journey. Yeah. Now he runs a ton, but Zach and his team do a phenomenal job on the graphic design site, the website site, everything for us. And we just want to say how honored we are to partner with you in that, Zach.
I appreciate that, Ken.
Thank you, my friend. Guys, listen, it is 7:55. It's actually 7:55 in Birmingham, Alabama. It's almost 9 o'clock on the East Coast. I want to say thank you for being a part of our Grow Stack Drive virtual summit tonight. As always, tomorrow night is our Grow Stack Drive online coaching group. If you're interested in one of our coaching groups, we kick off 2 brand new groups in July. The growstackdrive.com. There's the website. You can check that out there. If you're interested in doing a free 15-minute coaching session with me, you can do that at kenjohnsongroup.com. And again, guys, honored Tori, Antonio, Gregory, Josh, all the other guys that were here tonight, Garen, everybody that was here, thank you so much for being a part, for sharing your time, and just adding value to our community again tonight. Super honored. Listen, guys, y'all have an amazing evening. Zach, love you, buddy. Thank you for being a part tonight. Y'all have a great, and we will see you guys right here next month for our next virtual summit. Thank you.